A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tenderay Beef presents by transcription, Hearts in Harmony. K is for Kroger, C is for cut, B is for beef. KCB means Kroger cut beef, and Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. So visit your Kroger store. That's where you'll find Kroger cut beef and many other famous stars of the food world. And now a special treat. Here's George Burns and Gracie Allen, who'll tell you about a star of the food world featured at Kroger's.
Here he is, the greatest singer alive today.
Oh, Gracie, I'm not sure I'm the greatest singer.
I'm not even sure he's alive today.
Give him the voice that thrills millions.
Well, thanks, Gracie. I know it thrills millions when I say that Maxwell House coffee is delicious. The result of carefully selected Latin American coffees, radiant roasted to perfection.
Sing, George.
Iowa.
Hey, that reminds me, George, that I owe a lot to Maxwell House, the coffee that gives you so much more for so little more.
Sing some more, George.
Okay.
Arizona.
Arizona One Coffee, then.
I know, Maxwell House. The one coffee that's always good to the last drop.
Get Maxwell House coffee at your Kroger store. It's Kroger for better values on well-known brands, the stars of the food world. And now, Hearts in Harmony. The news of Barry Carlton's death has been kept from Penny until the doctors feel she is strong enough to stand the shock of it. And yesterday, in an attempt to learn the permanence of Penny's injuries, Penny was given a thorough examination. The results were alarming. And today in Rossville, Penny's one-time fiancé, Johnny Keith, discusses them with young Nora Lang. Johnny says,
Mrs. Billings had a long talk with the doctor after the tests were made, and they looked at the x-rays, and... well, the news wasn't good, Nora.
She's going to be scarred, isn't she, Johnny? Well, that's what I've been afraid of all along. Oh, Cricket.
Oh, it isn't the scars that frighten the doctors, Nora. It's her eyes. They think she's going blind.
Oh, no. Oh, no, that can't happen to Penny, not after everything else.
You'd think losing Barry would be enough, wouldn't you?
That was too much. It was unfair, awfully unfair. She was so close to happiness. If there hadn't been an accident, they'd be married now and happy, the way Freddie and I are happy.
You'd think she had happiness coming to her after all the other knocks she's taken, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You'd think she'd get one good break somewhere along the line, but no. No, she not only has to lose Barry, she has to be scarred and maybe blind as well.
Johnny, this is a horrible thing to say, but maybe if Penny is horribly scarred, it's better if she's blind. At least she won't be able to see.
Well, she'll know, though, by touch. What an awful thought, Nora, to think of Penny, gay as she is, always smiling, always lovely and active, groping in the dark, seeing with her fingers.
Johnny, please, let's not talk about it.
I'm sorry, Nora, but that's the real tragedy now. It's not Barry's death anymore. It's Penny's life. What'll she do with it? What'll she be able to do with it?
I don't know. If I were Penny, I'd want to die.
Well, that's what scares me. Penny may want to die, too. These things about the scars and the blindness are true. It'll be more dangerous than ever to tell her about Barry.
But they'll have to.
Oh, yeah, sure. They'll have to. It'll be as if they put a bullet through her head or a knife in her heart. It'll be just that fatal.
Johnny, we've got to do something. We've got to think of some way to help her.
How? What can we do?
Oh, crickets, I don't know, but there must be something.
Nora, you know I'd do anything I could. I've said 1,000 times there's nothing I wouldn't do for Penny at any time whenever she needed me. And now when she does need help, it's beyond me to know what to do.
Well, there must be something. There has to be something. Penny's always helped others. Look what she's done for me and for Freddie.
And for me. So many things I can't count them or remember them all.
Maybe an adding machine would help, Johnny.
Oh, hello, Freddie.
I know her.
Freddie, have you heard the latest news about Penny?
Yeah, sure have. Got it straight from Mrs. B this morning when I phoned the hospital. Johnny, I couldn't get my mind off it all day. Oh, Nora, here's the money that you wanted for the flowers for Barry's funeral.
Oh.
And if you need some more, just ask her.
Oh, thank you, Freddie. Well, this should be more than enough.
Well, this is one time the cost doesn't count.
When is the funeral, Freddie?
It's tomorrow morning. You going?
Yeah, I want to. I wonder if Penny will find out about it.
All she has to do is see a newspaper. She'll know.
Unfortunately, she's not reading anything.
Well, maybe that's why her eyes are on the bum right now. Maybe luck's on her side after all, Johnny. Maybe she can't use them just for the time being, so she won't see anything else that'll hurt her.
That's a lovely thought, Freddie. I hope you're right.
I do, too. But I doubt if the trouble with the vision is that insignificant. I understand she came through the eye test badly.
Well, things like bad vision after an accident clear up sometimes, Johnny. I knew a guy once who was hit in the head with a baseball. He was blind for almost 2 months, and then his sight came back just as good as ever.
Oh, Crickets, I hope the trouble with Penny's eyes is just temporary. Going blind on top of everything else is just too much.
Whether she's blind or not, she's going to be a sick and broken girl when she comes home. She needs help, lots of help, from everyone around her.
Well, when do you think she'll be able to come home?
I don't know, Freddie. We'd better start thinking now of what to do for her.
What can we do? What can anybody do? When she finds out that Barry's dead, that's going to be the end of everything for her.
It will be if she's left to look for herself.
Huh?
But if we look out for her, do something, plan something to help her when she gets home.
Something to occupy her mind, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Say, maybe we can get her out of town. Nora, we can scrape up some money.
Sure.
Maybe you and Penny can take a trip to Mexico or Panama, maybe even South America.
Well, that'd help. Going new places, seeing new people.
I mean, if she can see, don't you, Johnny?
Yeah.
Let's all pray for at least that one thing for her. That she can see.
Well, if prayer will do it, she'll see. Oh, look, I like this idea, Freddie's, of sending her away. And you and Freddie won't have to scrape up all the money. I have a little, and I can sell my car to get the rest if necessary.
Oh, no, Johnny, you don't have to do that. We can swing the finances. The farm did great this year.
You'll be donating Nora to the cause, Freddie. Let me at least donate a fair share of the money. Oh, would you mind going, Nora?
Oh, of course not, if it'll help Penny. I really can't think of anything that'd be better for her. But, Johnny, please don't sell your car.
Oh, now, look, that's the least I can do. Well, let's see, I can get $1,500 for it easily. And I'll bet you and Freddie won't be taking money out of the bank.
Oh,
You'll have to give up something.
No, we won't. But the farm will. We'll just have to get along with one new truck. We really do need 2. And that new planting equipment we need, guess that'll just have to wait for another year, huh, Nora?
Mm-hmm.
But, Johnny, I'd sell that farm if I had to. And you'd let me do it, too, wouldn't you, Nora?
Oh, Freddie, you know I would.
Well, I'm sure you won't have to do that. We can get, $3,000 or $4,000 together, can't we?
Well, it'll be a squeeze, but we can get it. Then all we have to do is to get Penny to go. And that's going to be the tough part.
Oh, Cricket, she never lets anyone do anything for her, does she?
Well, this time I think she will, Nora. The fight will probably be gone out of her by the time she gets home. She'll have had the shock of a scarred face, of knowing Barry's dead, and if her eyes aren't, well, she'll be as helpless as a child.
And then she won't be Penny, will she?
Would you expect her to be?
Well, I know I wouldn't be the same after going through all she's gone through. But, Johnny, she might fool us.
Not this time, Freddie. I know how she felt about Barry more than you do. She talked to me about him lots of times, and it wasn't just that she loved him and he loved her, although that would have been enough, but don't you see, Barry meant happiness to her, and happiness is something Penny'd been looking for all her life and always found only to lose it again. This time, she was sure she'd never lose it.
Well, she didn't lose it, Nora. It was taken away from her. That's worse, I guess.
Well, we've got to help her forget about it. And to find it again.
Scarred, blind, and with nothing but memories of Barry, you expected to find happiness, Freddie?
Well, it does sound useless, doesn't it?
Oh, Crickets, we're not giving up, are we? How can we be of any use to Penny if we give up?
That's a good point, Nora. You're right. At least we have to have faith. Now, look, I'm driving down to Headleton this afternoon. Would either of you like to go down with me?
Oh, I'd love to, Johnny, but I have to stay with the children.
Well, look, when I talked to Mrs. B this morning, I said that I'd try and get down there. I'll go along with you, Johnny.
Swell. And maybe we can start working on our plans for Penny now.
Sure,
we ought to begin thinking of ways to cheer her up right now.
Ready? Johnny, next time you come and see me, I'll have a surprise for you.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Tomorrow they're taking off the last bandages on my face.
Oh, that's swell, Penny.
Well, I guess you'll be glad to get rid of them, won't you?
Oh, that's an understatement. And I'm prepared for a shock when they come off, too.
What do you mean, shock?
You know what I mean, Johnny. I must be scarred.
Well, what if you are, Penny? It won't be much of a scar.
Sure, and scars can be taken care of.
Yeah, I know, but even if there's nothing they can do, I won't mind.
Well, why should you mind? Well, scar or no, you'll still be the best-looking tomato in Rossville.
Maybe that's the reason I'm not as worried as I should be, is that I know Barry will think the same thing. I'm just that sure of him.
Sure, of course.
I know I shouldn't admit I'm so sure of him, should I, Johnny?
Well, why not? The guy loved you the minute he laid eyes on you.
Sure, and I guess a guy like Barry would want... Say, Penny, what are you going to do when you get out of the hospital?
Oh, I don't know. Depends on how soon Barry gets out. He may be in a lot longer than I, but I'll know more about that next time I see him. That might be tomorrow.
Well, look, you don't want to worry about doing anything at all tomorrow but having those bandages taken off.
You think it'll be too much for one day, do you, Freddie? You all think I'm a sissy, hmm?
No, we don't think you're a sissy, Penny. But, well, with what you've been through, you ought to take it easy.
Oh, I'll have lots of time to take it easy when Barry's getting well. I'll have to do a lot of things for both of us as soon as I'm strong again. There's the house to plan and a lot of things to take care of. You know, I think we'll have a regular wedding in Rossville now. I think Mother and Mrs. Carlton will want it that way. Oh, we were wrong to slip off to be married the way we did. Hey, Freddie, where are you going?
Me? Oh, well, Penny, I promised Nora that I'd be back early today, and you know that nurse, she said not to stay too long anyway.
That's right, Penny, she did. We don't want to get thrown out of here.
But you'll be back in a day or two to see me without my bandages, won't you?
We sure will.
I love you, please. And next time, maybe we'll let you see Barry, too.
Sure. Well, so long, Penny.
So long.
Bye. Thanks for coming to see me, both of you.
Of course.
Sure,
bye.
Kitty. Come on, Johnny. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, you said it. I think if I stayed in her room another minute, I'd have started to cry.
Yeah, me too. Johnny, it's not right to let her go on thinking that Barry's alive. It just isn't fair to let her go on dreaming
They
this
have
way.
to let her dream until she's strong enough to be wakened, Freddie.
Yeah. Well, what'll she wake up to? A nightmare?
Will the plans of Nora, Freddie, and Johnny be helpful to Penny after she's been told the terrible truth? How bad are the scars on Penny's face? Is her vision really failing? And what effect will the news of Barry's death have on her? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. KCB. KCB. KCB means Kroger cut beef, and Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. Yes, Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste, because before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. In buying Kroger cut rib roast, for example, you don't pay rib roast price for excess bone and waste. The chine bone is trimmed, the waist and short rib end removed, giving you top U.S. government grades of beef that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. And before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, waste, and stringy ends. Remember, whether you buy a steak or roast, Kroger cut beef gives you more meat for your money. Ladies, Kroger's great hot dated coffee brings you an opportunity to win a big, luxurious Hudson sedan, an Alaska sealskin fur coat valued at $1,400, a Westinghouse laundromat, roaster, or a Just-O-Matic electric iron. 1,160 prizes are being given away in 5 weekly contests. The first week's contest closes midnight tonight. Entries received after midnight go into next week's contest. Get your entry blank with full details at your Kroger store. Listen again tomorrow, same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A supermarket in your city has been robbed. The thief wore a disguise. You don't know who he is or what he looks like. Your job, find him. Today, friends, you hear these 3 words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. Best for you, because Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine. The taste you want, the mildness you want. Chesterfield is best for you because it's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield is best for you because it has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, August 13th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 7:58 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery. Morning, Frank. You been in long?
About 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. It'll be a hot one today, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what the paper says.
Anything in the book?
No.
How about those mugs? They come in from Barton?
Yeah, I put them in your box.
Thank you. Did you take a look at them? Hey, Frank.
What?
I said, did you see the mugs?
Oh, no.
All right. What's the matter?
Faye?
What happened?
Joe, you know me. You know how I feel about Faye. So you got to know I didn't mean anything by it.
You didn't mean anything?
Certainly not. It's the farthest thing from my mind.
What was?
What she thought I meant. You know, Joe, sometimes I think Faye just don't understand me.
Well, I don't understand you either on this one.
Oh, that's right. You weren't there.
No.
Sorry, got to thinking to myself you were. You know how a guy does.
Uh-huh.
I got to thinking to myself, when you got a problem, you kind of think your old buddy knows all about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I got to fill you in. I'll tell you all about it.
Right now?
Yeah. You see, after dinner last night, we had those Swedish meatballs that Faye makes so good.
The what?
Meatballs. Swedish ones.
Oh, yeah, I know. I had those out there.
Yeah, wonderful.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, after dinner last night, we went in the living room, sat down to watch the television.
Mm-hmm.
I switched on the set, and I kind of arranged the pillows and settled back. A couple of minutes later, Faye comes in with a box. One of those big flat ones like dresses come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
She bought a new dress. Joe, that's why she fixed the meatballs.
I don't know how this is going to end, but up to here, I must be on Faye's side, I guess.
You are?
Well, I don't understand any of it.
Oh, well, I'll straighten that out.
Mm-hmm.
You see, whenever she wants me to go along with something she's already done, she always makes Swedish meatballs.
Well, I could figure that part out. What was in the box?
A dress, Joe. She bought a dress.
Oh, it was a dress?
Yeah. She opened up the box. She shows it to me. Told me how she bought it on sale. Mm-hmm. Do you ever notice how every time a woman buys a dress, it's always on sale?
No, I can't say as I ever have.
Well, believe me, buddy, it always is.
On sale.
On sale.
I don't want you to go through the whole day with this on your mind, but if you don't get to the point, it'll be time for us to sign out. And then we can talk about it.
Well, I didn't mean anything by it. Nothing. She held the dress up for me to see, and all I did, I just said, what size is it? You know how you do.
Mm-hmm. Want to look at these mug shots now?
No, wait a minute. I want to finish. You asked me what I was mad about. I wanted to tell you. I asked her what size the dress was. She told me it was a 12. A 12.
A 12.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of casually mentioned that when we got married, she wore a 9. That's all I said, that she wore a 9.
Want to look at the mug shots now?
No, wait a minute. Will you help me with this thing? It's the use of being partners. If you can't help a little, we'll look at the mug shots. When we were married, she wore a 9. And she just flipped her wig, Joe. She got real mad. Walked out of the room. Right out of the room.
Yeah.
I guess she thought I meant she was getting fat.
Yeah, I guess she did.
Oh, she was mad.
Mm-hmm. Hot shot, I'll get it. Let's go. Corner of Grandview and Union.
Yeah?
Hold up. By the time we got to the supermarket, a broadcast carrying the description of the suspect had been gotten out to all cars in the city. A small crowd of people had gathered in front of the store, and the officers from the radio unit were attempting to keep them back from the entrance. An ambulance had been called, and when we got there, the attendants were giving emergency treatment to the day manager of the store. He'd been struck on the left side of the head just above the ear by the suspect when he'd made his getaway. The attendant told us that the man was suffering from a mild concussion. Frank and I entered the store and talked to one of the policemen who was there. He led us back to a small office in the rear of the place where we met the other 2 victims. One was the cashier of the store, Irma Watson. The other was the man who had the meat concession in the store, Tom Spence. We asked him to tell us what happened.
First thing I saw of him was when I parked my car out in the lot. The guy was standing right beside the door.
That's right, just standing there, calm as could be. I saw him when I opened up the place.
Mm-hmm. You want to go ahead?
Well, I unlocked the door and we all came in. The man did, too, just walked right in.
We don't normally let people come in for 8, hardly ever. But since Gerald was there, we figured he could take care of the man.
You mean Gerald's the man in the ambulance?
Yeah, that's right. Hold-up fella gave him an awful clout on the head. Gave him concussion. Concussion of the head.
Tell you something about that, too.
What's that, Miss Watson?
I don't really think Gerald's hit that hard. I think he's just putting on to get sympathy.
Now, Irma, that ain't right. Not good to say things like that.
Maybe not, but I tell you, you remember the time he cut his finger when he was moving the cases of empty soda pop bottles?
Yeah?
Well, you were there, had to rush him to the hospital, have his hand sewn up. A lot of foolishness, piece of adhesive would have taken care of it. Sympathy, that's what he wants.
Can we go on with what we were talking about? What happened after you came in the store, please?
Well, I went upstairs and I turned on the lights.
Have to turn them on from up there. Officers up there.
That's where I work.
Mm-hmm.
Turned on the lights, then come down to open the safe.
Is that your job, to open the safe in the morning?
Yeah.
And she's a cashier.
Yes, sir. What happened then?
Well, Gerald was going out back to open the delivery door. I was over in the meat section, kind of straightening up.
Where was the hold-up man during this time?
We were just kind of strolling around, looking at the different displays up and down the aisles, just looking.
Gerald opened up the back door and come back. Asked the fella if there's something special he's looking for.
Well?
Guy said he wanted to know where the Dillette of anchovies was. Gerald told him. Fella went back to get some.
That's what Gerald thought, but we know different now.
Yeah, a lot different.
All right, would you go on, please?
Well, I was upstairs counting the receipts from yesterday, getting the bank statement ready.
Irma's a cashier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Would you go on, please?
Well, first thing I know, the man's standing right behind me, holding this gun pointed right at me. You can just bet he like to scared me out of my wits.
Must have been terrible, Irma.
It was. I just turned around, and there he was with this gun, just about scared me to death.
That's when he asked you for the money, did he?
He didn't ask. He just told me to put it in a wooden box he had. Just put it in the box.
What did he say? What were his exact words?
Well, he just kind of walked over and said, "Put the money in the box and don't cause no trouble. This is a stick-up." Like that, he said it.
Irma did just what he said.
Yes, sir. I gave him the money, dumped it all in the box, just like he said. Then he told me to lay down on the floor. Just told me to lay down and not to make any noise or he'd come back and kill me. I think he'd have done it, too.
I think he would have, Irma.
That's why I did what he said, flat on the floor.
Did he have the box when he came in?
Yeah, I had it under his arm.
I was down behind the meat counter, and all of a sudden I heard this scream.
That was me.
Yes, ma'am.
I let out a yell, and Tom here heard it.
And so did Gerald. We kind of looked at each other, and then I grabbed the meat cleaver and started up the stairs. I didn't know what was wrong, but I did know Irma was in trouble.
I appreciate that, Tom.
I knew you were in trouble, and I came running. Got the stairs, come up the office, and then I saw him. He was just coming down.
He still had the gun, did he?
Yeah, had the gun in the box. I didn't know what was in it at that time, but I had an idea. I just hefted the cleaver and started up the stairs. Stopped when he saw me. Stopped right in his tracks.
Tom's awful brave.
Yes, ma'am.
So he told me to get out of his way or else he'd kill me. The way he was pointing that gun around, I kind of believed him. So I backed down the stairs and him right behind me. All the time he had that gun pointed at me.
Where was the manager all this time?
You mean Gerald?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was upstairs.
No, I saw him. He was down to the cash register in front. He saw this guy coming down the stairs, and he ran for the phone to call the police. The fellow saw him, and he took off after Gerald. I thought he was going to shoot him, but he didn't. Just hit him. Give him a concussion to the head.
He's after sympathy, that's all.
Oh, now, Irma, you're wrong. I seen it. He gave Gerald an awful hit, right along here. There, real hard.
Now, which way did the man go after he left the store, please?
He ran down that way, down Union.
Uh-huh. Now, will you describe the man for us?
Well, he was about 5 feet 6, and he was...
It might be a little better if you told us one at a time. Huh?
I guess you'd never get it that way.
Be a little difficult, sir, yeah.
You go ahead, Irma.
Well, I told the other policeman he was about the funniest-looking little man I ever saw. Real little.
Oh, not really. I think he just kind of hunched over.
Well, he looked little.
About how tall was he?
Oh, about 5'8", maybe 9.
Guess that's about right. Tell him about the way he was dressed.
Oh, yeah. Had on this black overcoat and a hat, all pulled down over his eyes. The hat, I mean.
What color was his hair, do you remember?
Well, what I could see of it was kind of blonde, light-colored.
Yeah, that's right, and he had a mustache.
Yeah, real big. Looked like the old-fashioned kind, like people wore when I was a kid. You know, handlebar, black.
Real black.
Mm-hmm. When he left the store, did you notice if he got into a car?
Yeah, he did. I saw him run down the street and jump in one, a dark color. I'm not sure what kind it was. I think it might have been a Hudson, late model.
I saw that. I was looking out the side window upstairs, and I saw the same thing.
Did you tell the other officers about it?
Well, I didn't.
And neither did I.
I guess we better get out a broadcast on it.
Yeah. Did you happen to get the license number of the car?
Yeah, that's where I went to work. I've got it written down right here on my apron. See? Numbers ain't too plain, but you can make them out.
No, sir, I can't. You'll have to help me there.
I got it, too. Right here. I saw him get in the car, and I wrote it down.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Having the number of the car is going to make it easier to catch a fella, ain't it?
We should make it a snap. Just find out who owns the car, and that's the man.
Well, it's not going to be that easy, I'm afraid.
What?
Both numbers are different. A supplemental broadcast was gotten out carrying both the license numbers that the victims had gotten. Frank put in a call to DMV asking him to forward all information on the numbers. The crime lab crew came out and went over the place for fingerprints, but they were not able to turn up anything that we could use. We continued to question the butcher and the cashier. We got a complete description of the thief. The one outstanding thing that both of them agreed on was the mustache. Both said that it was a direct contrast to the color of the man's hair, and said that it might have been darkened with shoe polish or some kind of grease. People in the vicinity were questioned, but none of them were able to supply us with any new information. The injured manager was removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital for emergency treatment and then referred to his own doctor. Frank and I talked to him, but he only verified the story that we'd gotten from the other two people in the store. 12:45 p.m. We returned to the city hall and asked the stats office to start a run on the M.O. for us. The victims were asked to go through the mug books, but they were not able to identify any of the photographs. Frank and I spent the rest of the day talking to the other storekeepers in the vicinity of the robbery. We asked each of them if they'd seen anyone loitering in the area, anyone who looked suspicious. From each of them, we got the same answer. None of them could help us in establishing the identity of the suspect. The kickback on the license number came in from Sacramento, but when we checked out the information, we were no closer to apprehending the thief. The next morning, Thursday, August 14th, Frank and I met in the squad room.
Hi, Joe.
Morning.
How's my old buddy this morning?
I'm all right. You sound happy. The problem with Faye straightened out?
Oh, yeah, sure. Got home last night. Everything's great.
All right.
Hey, we started last night.
What's that?
Faye and me, we're going on a diet. Both going to lose a little weight.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, lose a little weight. Anything new in the market holder?
No, the stats office should finish the run for us this morning. We can start checking out the possibles.
Yeah, it's a good thing I wore my walking shoes, huh?
I get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that's right. No, that's all right. We'd like to hear it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. All right, we'll be out and see you. No, right away. All right, thank you very much. Bye.
What do you got?
Cashier out at the market, that Irma Watson.
Yeah?
Might have something for us.
What's that?
She says she thinks she knows who the suspect is. Frank and I drove out to the market. We went upstairs to the office in the rear of the store and met Irma Watson. She was seated at a desk with a large ledger book opened in front of her.
I got to thinking it over last night after I got home about the hold-up man.
Yes, ma'am?
There was something about him, the way he acted and talked made me think I knew who he was, that I'd seen him someplace before.
Uh-huh.
I lay awake most of the night just thinking about it, then all of a sudden it came to me. Right out of the air it came to me.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Well, I knew where it was that I thought I knew him from.
Where, ma'am?
Right here in the store.
You mean he's a customer?
No, he works for us, right here in the store. That's where I've seen him. That mustache kind of fooled me for a minute, but not for long. I remembered.
What's the man's name?
I didn't remember that.
Oh, let's see.
Not last night, but I came down here this morning and started through the books and came upon it. Got it right here. Take a look for yourself. See? Right there.
That's Jed Ellsworth?
That's him, I'm sure of it.
Does Ellsworth work here now?
Well, yes and no.
Yeah?
Well, he does and he doesn't. He's still got the job, but he ain't working right now. Got a leave of absence. He's got ulcers. Said he wanted to get them taken care of. Said he had to go out of town and see a specialist, get his ulcers fixed.
I see. When did he leave?
Last week. See, I got it right here. Last day he worked was Wednesday, August 6th. That was the last day.
Mm-hmm. Do you have his home address?
You just bet. Got it right here. Wrote all the information out for you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
It's him. I'm sure of it.
All right, Miss Watson, we'll check into it.
Only thing I can't figure out is that mustache.
What's that?
The mustache. I can't figure out how he could have grown it so fast. Takes longer than a week to get a mustache like that, doesn't it?
Well, it depends, doesn't it?
On what?
Where you buy it. Frank and I returned to the office to run the name Jed Ellsworth through the record bureau. While Frank went through the packages, checking the description we'd gotten of the suspect, I went down to the stats office and picked up the list of possibles that they had for us. 10:26 a.m. I met Frank back at the R&I counter. All right, how's it going?
Well, looks like we got a live one. Got a Jed Ellsworth here, pretty close to the description.
Yeah.
Record in the East, St. Louis. Done big time back there, nothing locally, though.
What did he fall for?
Armed robbery.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Meet the Tom Harmons. You know Tom as Michigan's All-American football star, now a top sports announcer. Mrs. Harmon is the motion picture and television star Elise Knox. They're typical of people everywhere who are saying, Chesterfields for me.
I like regular-sized Chesterfields. Have for years. They're best for me, at least I think so, because of that Chesterfield quality.
That's the way I feel about them, too. I've always smoked Chesterfields. Now I go for the king size. Guess I like a longer smoke.
So whether you smoke regular size like Elise Knox or king size like Tom Harmon, enjoy America's most popular two-way cigarette. Chesterfields for me. You hear it everywhere. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield.
We sent an immediate request to the authorities in St. Louis asking that they forward all available information on their suspect, Jed Ellsworth. 1:15 p.m., Frank and I drove out to the address we'd been given by the cashier at the supermarket. It was a one-story redwood house in the Beverly Glen area. We rang the front doorbell.
Yes?
We'd like to see Jed Ellsworth.
He's not here.
Well, do you know where we can reach him?
What's this about? He in trouble again?
Ma'am?
Jed in trouble again?
We'd like to talk to him, please.
You cops?
Or police officers.
Uh-huh. Figures. What's he done this time?
Well, it's just routine. We want to ask him a couple of questions. Where is he?
I don't know.
Well, he lives here, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know where he is. Haven't seen him since the day before yesterday. He's packed up and left. I don't know where he went.
Well, didn't he give you any idea where he was going?
None. Went through my purse, took what money I had, and shoved off. Don't much matter to me if I never see him again. I'd probably be better off.
I wonder if we could see his things.
You mean what he left?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Come on in. They're in his room. I'm about to throw him out. I don't want him, and I don't think you'll be back for him this time. Down the hall, this way.
Thank you, ma'am.
What are you after him for?
It'll be a little better if we talk to him.
Sure. Don't matter to me. I'm through with him. Nothing but trouble with cops since we've been married. I didn't know he had a record when I met him. It wasn't until after we got married I found out he was a jailbird. Right after we got married, the cops started coming around asking questions.
How long have you been married?
18 months. Met him back in St. Louis. Must have been right after he got out of jail. I didn't know it then. Wished I did. Wouldn't have nothing to do with him. Giving me nothing but trouble.
Would you know if he has any people in California?
That I ever saw. He never talked about him.
Does he drive a car?
Jed?
Yes, ma'am.
No, he didn't own one. Whenever he needed one, he'd go to one of these rental agencies, rent one. This is his room. Stuff's there on the bed.
Thank you. I'll check it.
I'm going to throw it all out. Anything there you want, just take it with you.
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Well, the offer's still good. What you don't take, I'll throw out.
Your husband got any close friends at all in town?
Yeah, a couple other bums.
Can you give us their names?
Only one name I know, Larry Jessup. Him and Jed used to pal around all the time. I think his job at the store took up too much pal time. That's the reason Jed quit.
I understand your husband had trouble with his stomach, don't you?
Yeah, ulcer.
Was he under the care of a doctor?
Uh-huh. All the time taking pills and eating special things. Got to the point where nothing I cooked was right for the ulcer. We did nothing but fight all the time. Miserable 18 months. I'm glad he's gone. Never see him again. It'll be a week too soon.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us the doctor's name?
Yeah, it's on one of the bills there. Got it in with the rest of them. Reminds me, can you answer me something?
Oh, what's that?
Am I responsible for his bills, the ones he ran of himself without my help? I got to pay him?
Well, ma'am, that's not a police problem. You better check with a lawyer on that.
Oh, are you?
Yes, ma'am.
More expense. Seems like all I do is put out money for him. Boy, I'm glad he's gone.
You have a picture of him?
You mean like a snapshot?
Yes, ma'am.
No, Jed wouldn't let nobody take pictures of him. Said it was bad luck.
Mm-hmm. He had a mustache, didn't he?
That's inside no.
Miss Ellsworth,
Yeah?
you know what's on these dictograph records?
Oh, those are mine. I'm a stenographer. Sometimes I do work at home. Those are mine.
Oh.
Just letters. It's the one thing he ever did for me.
What's that?
Made that box for records. Real big thing. Took him all day to make it. Just a plain, simple wooden box. You'd have thought it was a Taj Mahal. Only thing he ever did for me.
I see. Your husband get many phone calls here?
No, not that you'd notice. Larry'd call once in a while. I told you they was real pally.
Yes, ma'am. You ever hear any of the conversations by any chance?
Just on this end.
You know what they were talking about?
Not too good. They used to get real secret. You know, low voices. They were planning something, though. I don't know what it was, but they were planning something.
Well, this fellow Jessup, he drive a car?
Yeah.
You know what kind?
Yeah. New Hudson.
We got the address of the suspect's friend, and we drove back to the city hall. We made arrangements for a stakeout to be placed on the house, in addition to asking Mrs. Ellsworth to call us in the event that she heard from her husband. We ran the name Lawrence Jessup through R&I, and we came up with a criminal record for him. It listed several arrests for burglary and auto theft. According to his package, he'd never been convicted in California. We sent a teletype up to George Brereton, CII in Sacramento, asking for further information on the man. 4:50 p.m. Frank and I left the office and drove out to the address given us by the suspect's wife. It was a large boarding house in the Hollywood Hills area. We talked to the landlady. She told us Jessup wasn't in, but that she expected him by 6 p.m. We asked if she'd ever seen a man answering Jed Ellsworth's description. She said that such a man was a frequent visitor in Jessup's room. 5 p.m. Frank and I, in the company of the landlady, checked the room. We found nothing to tie Jessup in with a robbery. We waited for him. 5:58 p.m. He came up the stairs and opened the door.
What are you guys doing here?
Police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I still want to know what you're doing here.
Got a couple of questions we want to ask you, Jessup.
Go ahead. I got nothing to hide. Ask.
Where's Jed Ellsworth?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a couple of days. Why?
Understand you two are pretty good friends.
We're friends. The guy's off his rocker.
How do you mean that?
What I said. He only got out of the can a couple of years ago. Right away, he's doing his best to get back in.
Is that right?
Sure. A couple of days ago, he called. Said he had to see me right away. Had a big idea for both of us. Make a lot of money.
Yeah?
Well, I don't want to have to work all my life, so I told him I'd listen. He laid out this big deal where he could knock off a supermarket. Told me he had it all planned, how'd it all work out real good. Couldn't miss.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I didn't want no part of it. I could sure use the dough, yeah, but not to take a chance on going to jail for it. I already got a record. I had enough to do with cops to last me the rest of my life. Been lucky the last couple of times. It didn't fall, but I don't want to press. I'm punching a clock now, and that's the way it's going to be. I told him that.
Did he say he was going to go ahead with the job?
No, I just said I was crazy not to pick up some easy money.
You heard from him since then?
Yeah, I saw him yesterday. He came over in the morning. Told me to forget all about the market job. Said he realized it was wrong. Asked me to drive him out to Pomona.
What for, did he say?
Yeah, he said he'd walked down on Hazel. That's his wife.
Yeah, we know.
Said he left her and was going to Pomona. Had a job out there.
You drive him?
Yeah, to a motel there. I can show it to you if you want.
Is he still there?
I don't know. As far as I know, he is. That's where I left him, sitting out there counting his money.
What money?
He told me he drew all the dough out of his and Hazel's account. Said she wasn't going to get any of it. Must have had about $4,000.
Uh-huh. You know what bank he had the money in?
No, he didn't say. I didn't know him and Hazel had that much. Of course, she works pretty hard. Thrifty, you know. Jed always said she was stingy. A lot of money.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, had it in this wooden box, all stacked in there, real neat. Hard to believe.
What's that?
About the box. Jed's about the laziest guy I ever knew. Last one to work with his hands. Sure proud of it, though. Said he made the box himself.
Larry Jessup, Frank, and I drove out to the motel in Pomona. We checked with the manager, but found that the suspect had checked out that morning. Fortunately, the room had not been cleaned yet, and we went over it. On a shelf in a closet, we found the wooden box that Jessup had spoken of. It was a duplicate of the one that we'd seen at the suspect's home. We told the manager we were taking it with us and asked her to notify us in the event Ellsworth returned. We asked if he had a car when he left. The manager told us he didn't, but that he had asked for the name of some automobile rental agencies in Pomona. Jessup and I went out to our car and waited for Frank to come back from the suspect's room.
Sure looks like he pulled a robbery, huh?
It seems to fit him real good, doesn't it?
Joe?
Yeah.
Look at this. Found it under the bed.
Phony black mustache.
We checked with the automobile rental agencies in the area. None of them had seen a man answering the suspect's description. We asked them to call us if such a man did come in. We drove by Ellsworth's house and picked up the wooden box that he'd made for his wife's dictograph records. Both of the containers were taken to the crime lab for comparison. We drove to the market that had been held up. All three of the victims were shown the false mustache that we'd found in the motel. All three said it was identical with the one that the hold-up man had worn. After his investigation, Lee Jones said that the two wooden boxes were cut from the same piece of 3-ply wood. Paint particles on the wood matched. The nails used were made by the same machine. The box we found at the motel was shown to both the butcher and the cashier. They said that it was the same one that the thief had carried. A local and an APB were put out on the suspect, asking that he be picked up for suspicion of robbery. For the next 3 days, the surveillance on the suspect's house was maintained. All of Mrs. Ellsworth's activities were observed. Sunday, August 17th, we got a call that the suspect's wife had left the house carrying a suitcase. The officers on stakeout followed her to the subway terminal in downtown Los Angeles. We met them there. Mrs. Ellsworth walked down to the landing and appeared to be waiting. Frank and I took over the surveillance. We waited. 9:30 p.m. 10. 10:15. 10:18 p.m.
Joe.
Yeah, I see him.
Looks like the description.
Yeah, he's going toward his wife. Right, let's let them get together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. Come on. He sees us.
Jed, get out of here.
Come on, Frank. All right, Ellsworth, hold it up. Police officers. Come on, drop the gun, Ellsworth. You're not going to get out of here. Let's give it back to him. Down. Come on, Frank. He's hurt. Yeah.
I'll get an ambulance.
Right.
He's dead. Did you kill him?
No, we've sent for an ambulance.
I didn't want him to get hurt. I didn't want him to get hurt.
Why don't you call us when you heard from him?
I don't know. He said if I met him, he'd give me some money so I could pay the bills we owed. He was going to give me some money. I was going to call you after I got the money. I was going to call.
Yeah, sure you were.
It's a chance to get out from under, get even. He didn't care when we were together. I was the one who worried about it. He never cared. He never paid a bill.
Don't worry, he's going to pay this one.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 17th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. You know, the Chesterfield you smoked today is the best cigarette ever made, and best for you. Now, that's a fact. And to my way of thinking, it's the very reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Try 'em either way, regular or king size. If you try 'em, I think you'll say with all of us, Chesterfield's for me.
Jed Warren Ellsworth was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 5 years to life. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Ralph Moody, June Whitley. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter tip smokers, this is it. L&M Filters, the one filter tip cigarette with plenty of good taste, much more flavor, much less nicotine, and effective filtration. Only the L&M filter contains the miracle product alpha cellulose, the purest material for filtering cigarette smoke. Yes, this is it. As Helen Hayes puts it, L&M filters are just what the doctor ordered. Buy L&M filters, the distinguished monogram cigarette. L&M filters, America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette.
Rocky Fortune following John Cameron Swayze and the news on the NBC Radio Network.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
It all started on the bus just outside of Dallas. The sailor who had snored beside me since Memphis got off, and the big fat guy got on. He overflowed into my half of the seat, and for sound effect, he ate one apple after another. He must have bought him with his sack. Hey, fella, do you mind? My top coat? Oh, I'd like to have it fresh, but I'd prefer a tailor to do it. I pulled the coat out from under him. He smashed my carton of cigarettes almost flat. From then on, I held the coat in my lap. In my mind, he was symbolic of everything connected with this trip and with my life. Second rate, middle class, mediocre. I was on my way to Hollywood. Yeah, I'm an actor. Under personal contract to Henry Slafta, big director. Oh, it sounds impressive, but it isn't. One of those insignificant stock contracts with short options and shorter dough. I should have turned it down, but I was flat broke, on my heels. That's why, when I found the money, I did what I did.
Okay, folks, we're stopping here for 15 minutes.
Another stop, chance to stretch. Well, I had a cup of coffee and a spud nut in the depot, and I was starting back to the bus when I saw him, my apple-chewing friend. Two men with cop written all over them were leading him out of the bus. It was a pinch. I wondered why they picked him up. I really didn't care why they took him as long as he didn't come back. Now I had the seat to myself. But he'd done me a final courtesy. He'd knocked my top coat onto the floor and walked on it.
Okay, everybody on, let's go.
From then on into El Paso, he was the topic of conversation.
You didn't look like you've driven over the news, my dear. Didn't you hear what the bus driver says? The man's a counterfeiter, one of the smartest ones in the country. The police have been after him for ages. Counterfeiter? How exciting. I must get off at El Paso and send a phone card back to man. Won't you be thrilled for me?
Counterfeiter. Well, that's the last thing I would have begged him for.
El Paso.
El Paso. And Hollywood still 24 long hours away. Well, economy or no economy, I wasn't going to go on. I was dead tired, saddle sore from 3 days and nights on that bus. So I switched my ticket to the following day, and I hunted up a cheap hotel. The bellhop there was full of helpful ideas on how I could spend the evening.
Well, how about Juarez, mister?
Juarez, huh?
Yeah, old Mexico, just across the International Bridge.
Oh, yeah. I'd forgotten that this is a border town. No, thanks. I just want to get some sleep.
Sure, mister. It's up to you.
I tipped the kid and stretched out on the bed. I dug in my pocket for a cigarette, but I was out, so I reached into my top coat for the carton. That's when I found it. A package of money. A lot of money. All in 50s and 100s. Nice, clean, fresh bills. I counted them fast. $15,000 worth. So that's why I found my coat on the floor of the bus. Fatso had stashed his homemade money in my pocket. Why, the lousy... I'd fixed his wagon, planning it on me. Operator, give me the FB... No, never mind. Wait a minute. Why should I? If I turned it in, I might get involved, and I couldn't afford to. When I got to Hollywood, Hollywood. Boy, what an entrance I could make into that town if all this dough were only real. I could just picture the look on Henry Slafter's face if I flew into Hollywood with a new wardrobe, stopped at the Ambassador, took a suite, made a big splash. Yeah, if only the dough were real. Well, I couldn't sleep now. I was too stirred up, so I took a shower and changed my clothes and went out. I didn't have anything particular in mind, but since the hotel was near the International Bridge, I went over into Juarez. And I wasn't quite sure why I did it, but in my pocket was one of the $50 bills. I went up and down the cheap main drag, sampling tequila and brushing off vendors of Hirachis and leather dolls, just like the rest of the tourists. But all the time, that $50 bill was burning a hole in my pocket. It was in a small bar, a crummy place called El Serape, that I finally took a chance. I'd had a couple of tequila daisies, and each time I'd given the waiter a $50. This time I handed him the $50 bill. I held my breath. Suddenly, I knew I'd been a fool. He didn't put it in the cash register as he had the other money. Instead, he went down to the end of the bar and handed it to a man sitting there, obviously an American. He took it, looked at it, and then had the waiter point me out. I got up out of the booth and started for the street, but the American caught me at the door.
I'm, Chef Wright. I'm the manager.
Yeah. Hiya.
You give this $50 bill to the waiter?
Yeah. I guess I forgot to wait for my change, huh?
You don't want to go around for getting money like this. Just business?
Yeah, sure.
You know, you're taking a big chance. You're setting yourself up like a pigeon.
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
Don't get excited, amigo. It's border town. That's all. The wrong people might get the idea that you're carrying more bills like this.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Yeah, sure. But if you were, I could put you in touch with most anything. Maybe a little gambling. I could fix you up with a little game. Anything you want to buy, I can get it for you.
No, I don't want to buy anything. But, suppose I wanted to sell something.
Sell? That's a little tough. I'd have to see a sample.
You got it, mister, right there in your hand. I was taking a crazy chance, but I'd kicked around Broadway long enough to know a contact man when I run into one, and Chuck Rice was definitely shady. He stood there scowling, turning the bill over and over in his hand.
Oh, so that's why you wanted to walk out on your change, huh? Thought I had it spotted. You got more like this?
Yeah.
On you?
No, I'm not that much of a pigeon.
How much more?
Enough.
You want to dump it?
Maybe. With the right kind of a deal.
Here's your 50 back. I don't know for nothing about this kind of commodity.
Well, I didn't pay for the drink.
All right, it's in the house. Your money's no good here.
I took the 50 and put it in my pocket. I shrugged and hoped my indifference went over. I was almost to the street when he called after me.
Hey, amigo.
Huh?
I just wondering. How much you got?
Why?
Well, if you got enough, maybe Nieves would be interested.
Nieves? Who's Nieves?
Down here, we don't ask questions like that. You go to the cab stand on the corner. Ask for Miguel. Tell him you want to see Nieves. Tell him Chuck Rice sent you. Only this time, amigo, if you want to do business, you better have the dough on you.
Miguel. Hey, I'm talking to you. What's the idea? You keep going around in circles.
Can't sabe, senor.
Can't sabe my foot. I want to go to Nieves.
Si, senor, si, Nieves.
Well, let's get going. Never mind the sightseeing. Miguel was driving down dark back alleys and dirt roads. I couldn't tell which direction we were going, and I'm sure that was the idea. But we were getting further and further out of town. I was beginning to wish I didn't have the money on me. But I hadn't gone back to the hotel for it when Miguel suddenly pulled off the road into a ruddy gopher-hole courtyard of a broken-down hacienda. It was littered with debris. I stumbled over a peg. His squeals woke a bunch of chickens roosting on a fence. And then I saw it. He was lying in a canvas hammock, one bare foot hanging over the side, deep in the enjoyment of an oversized cigarette. She seemed asleep except for the rhythmic puffs of smoke. She never opened her eyes all the time I was there. Nieves? Chuck Rice sent me. He thought we might be able to work out a deal. I got some money. I want to sell it. Chuck Rice said that you might handle it. You hear me? I got $15,000 American in 50s and 100s.
How much you want?
Well, what do you give me?
How much?
Well, I figured 5,000 would be fair.
No touch.
What?
Is that all you want? I no touch.
Why?
Too hot.
Well, if you think it's worth more.
No touch.
Okay, no touch. Come on, Miguel.
Si, senor. Senor,
Yeah.
O'Toole.
What was that?
O'Toole, maybe he buy.
O'Toole. Where's O'Toole?
Miguel, no.
Si, senor. Come, I will take you. Well, your English is improving, Miguel. Maybe your sense of direction will improve, too. And it did. As the crow flies, so did we. Straight to O'Toole's Dine and Dance. The gaudy tourist trap hypoed on the outside with neon signs advertising the best food and music in Juarez. While inside, 5 Latin beboppers were making hash out of Embraceable You. Miguel okayed me to a squint-eyed character who reluctantly led me down a hall, up a steep flight of stairs. We stopped in front of a door.
Come in.
Behind a huge red lacquered desk sat a handsome Chinese in a dinner jacket smoking a long black cigar.
Good evening. What can I do for you? Thanks, perhaps?
No thanks. I came to see O'Toole.
Yes? I am O'Toole.
You, O'Toole?
It's one of those tricks of nature. I wear my mother's face and my father's name.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
Well, think nothing of it, Mr. Smith?
Yeah. Smith.
Now, you have something you wish to sell?
That's right.
May I see the money?
Money? How did you know?
$15,000, as I understand it. How much do you want for it?
6,000.
You told Nieves. 5.
Nieves?
Oh, you're surprised. I know about that. Huh? Jack Webb always sends them out to the country to see Nieves before they come to me. Now, let me see the money. All of it.
Sure. Here. Look, I'll take the 5.
I'll give you...
Oh, no, wait a minute. There's 15,000 there. You won't have any trouble passing it in Mexico.
I know that. I also know that when this kind of money turns up in this part of the world, it means only one thing. I am your last resort. Well, Mr. Smith?
Yeah. Give me the 4,000. He went to the safe, got the money, and paid me. I got out of his office. Well, maybe I should have held out for more, but he gave me the creep. Besides, any way you look at it, 4,000's a lot of money. I could knock Henry Slapper's eyes out with less than that. Downstairs in the club, the floor show was on. An Adagio team was going through its calisthenics. I was just passing the bar when she bumped into me.
Hello, Charlie.
No, I'm not Charlie.
Sure you're Charlie. You gotta be Charlie.
Go on, beat it.
Come on. Don't be a sucker. We're being watched.
Well, so what am I supposed to do?
Be smart. Buy me a drink.
Look, I told you, I'm not interested.
Interested in getting out of here alive?
What kind of a track is that?
You see Squint Eyes over there by the entrance? Well, he's not the doorman.
Come on, look, what's this all about?
O'Toole. He wants back whatever it is he gave you.
I'll buy you that drink. Come on.
Make it Scotch.
Yeah. Bartender, 2 Scotch and sodas. All right. Now tell me why you're interested.
I'm supposed to knock you out.
You're what?
Those 2 drinks you just ordered. Yours will be loaded. And not with bromoquinine to cure your cold. Ever hear a knockout drop, tourist?
Yeah, sure, but I don't get it. What are you telling me for?
I don't know. Maybe because you're from my side of the border. Maybe because you don't look like the kind of scum that usually comes in this joint.
All right. So my drink's going to be loaded. And Squint Eyes is over to the front door to make sure I don't get away. I don't have much choice, do I?
Yeah, you do. I'm going to help you.
Help me?
After the drink hits you, I'm supposed to get you out the back door into the alley and then roll you.
Well, no, that'll be a big help.
But I'm not going to. Quiet. Here come the drinks.
All right, what do I do now?
When I reach around you for the ashtray, they won't be able to see you. Switch the drinks. You drink mine.
Yeah, but how about
They don't
you?
expect me to drink it.
Yeah, but
No, switch them. Sit it down. Drink it. In a minute, pretend you're dizzy. I'll help you get to the alley. And when you get there, you better run, brother. And run fast.
Helped me off the stool, put my arm around her shoulder. We were almost to the door, almost to the alley. It was just perfect, except for one thing. I was dizzy. My stomach turned over and over, and I passed out cold.
In just a moment, we will continue with Escape. But first, a lot's been said about the Sunday night entertainment on CBS, and rightly so. But take a look down the CBS listings during the entire week, and you'll find there's no let-up in the parade of all-star shows. Tomorrow, Wednesday night, and every Wednesday night, Bing Crosby, Groucho Marx, Burns and Allen, and Gene Hirschholt as the beloved Dr. Christian are heard on most of these same CBS stations. Dick Hames and the Andrews Sisters, Jack Smith and Dinah Shore are also on hand in their early evening quarter-hour programs. Make a habit of listening to CBS all through the week. And now we return you to the second act of Escape.
The smells were the same. Beer, tequila, stale black tobacco. But the sound had changed. There'd been music before. My stomach burned and my head throbbed. Somebody was lying across me. I raised up, tried to focus my eyes, but I couldn't. Gradually, I placed the sound. Some kind of a car. Bus? No, a truck. I was lying on the floor in the back of the truck, and there was a man lying across me. From the stench of him, he must have been drunk for a week, but from the inert way he lay, he could have been dead. I pushed him off and shook him. Where are we going? What is this? Hey, come on, wake up, will you? Listen to me. And I suddenly remembered the money. The $4,000. It was gone. I was clean broke. I'd been rolled all right, and by a dame who even told me before she did it. Then I saw the rest of them. The truck was a big van, and it was loaded, packed with a drag to border town, a sodden human cargo. All of them filthy, bleary-eyed. But one of them looked awake and reasonably sober. Hey, you over there. You speak English?
Si, senor.
Well, what happened? What are we doing here?
We all fall drunk, senor. It's no good to fall drunk. You go to Hensler.
Hensler?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Caray. No es bueno. I have been there before. I should know not to fall drunk. 1 whole month I have been there. Ese lugar es muy feo.
You've been where before? Where are they taking us? Tell me.
To Hensler. He's a very bad man.
Hensler? Well, who's Hensler?
You're going to see, senor. You will see.
That's all I could get out of him. We were going to Hensler, and it wouldn't be good. And it sounded like I was about to find out.
All right, you guys. Come on. The party's over. Hey, fellas. Move these tricks along. You guys don't look like no bunch of daisies, but we'll make you bloom, won't we, Miller?
He was a brute of a man, and he carried a .45 in a holster. He and the driver, Miller, herded us out of the truck like so many cattle. It was some sort of a road gang. I saw a sign blocking the road that read, Under Construction, Hensler Construction Company. Well, I had no idea where we were, how far away from the border. The landscape was dry, dusty, barren.
Well, Gonzalez, you with us again? Didn't we learn you not to get drunk, huh? Come on, you guys. Step on it.
All right, quit shoving.
Come on, come. Hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know.
Hello! How many times I got to tell you to be careful who you pick up? Now, wait a minute, Jay. Don't get stirred if I tell you. Don't you know we can get in plenty of trouble picking up the wrong guy? I didn't pick him up. O'Toole threw him in.
O'Toole?
Shut up, you. What O'Toole wish him on us for?
What'll Hensler hear about that?
Well, O'Toole has already talked with Hensler. He said this fellow will not give us any trouble. He is an embezzler. The police are looking for him.
You're crazy.
He came across the border to sell some money he had stolen from a bank or something. He must be plenty hot. He was willing to drop 15,000 real dough for 4,000 cash.
Real dough? What are you talking about? That was counterfeit I sold O'Toole.
Listen, buddy, I don't know what your racket is, but nobody fools O'Toole about money.
But it can't be real money. It was counterfeit, I tell you. It had to be. Look, I want to see Hensler.
You talk to me or you talk to nobody?
But I got to see Hensler. I got to get back to Juarez.
Oh? You hear that, Miller? He's got to get back to Juarez.
All right, look, you can't push me around. I'm an American.
Oh, he's an American. Well, send this to your congressman. Okay, American. Get on your feet. Get a pick and start working.
Hensler Construction Company. Just another name for a chain gang. I never saw Hensler. He wasn't there. But in the next week, I got to know Jake all right. I got to hate him. He drove us from dawn till dark, digging a road bed by hand, pick and shovel, in the hot sun, the dust, without rest. But worse than the physical torture was the fuss that gave me no rest. I'd sold O'Toole real money. For now I realized I'd never really had any proof that the fat man was a counterfeiter. I just jumped to that conclusion. The bus driver... No, not the bus driver. A woman on the bus said that the bus driver said it, and it drove me crazy just thinking about it. Real money. $15,000. I'd had it in my hand, and I'd thrown it away. I had to escape. I had to. There'd been a man in the truck who said he'd been here before, so he must have gotten away somehow. He could help me. You're the man that was here before?
I am Gonzalez.
All right, you got away the other time, didn't you?
Yes. But I am back. And this time I don't try to go.
Well, how did you go? How'd you get out?
There is a highway.
There is? Where?
4 miles, 5 miles. Many cars pass there.
There's 4 or 5 miles. That's nothing.
Oh. Maybe it sounds nothing to you, senor. But those are bad miles to go. Oh, caray.
Only 4 or 5 miles. Over that way, through the ravine. Well, I thought about it all that day, and I planned that I'd try it that night. But when we got back to camp, I was too dog-tired even to eat. I just flopped on the hard earth and fell asleep. Seemed that I'd just closed my eyes when I was shaken awake.
Hey.
Huh?
Hey. Get up, American. Get on your feet.
Huh?
I got a little job for you.
Oh, leave me alone, Jake. I'm tired.
Get up! You're on overtime.
He was murderously drunk. He had a bottle of whiskey in one hand and his .45 in the other. So I got up off the ground. All around me, the men were sleeping. If they heard him, they didn't pay any attention. He marched me down to the road bed and threw a pick at me.
There. Now start digging.
But it's the middle of the night. Look, I'm dead.
You gotta finish the road. Start digging, I said.
What are you picking on me for, Jake? Why me?
You're gonna start digging? Well, I start shooting.
So I dug. I dug till my hands were bleeding and my lungs were scalded with the effort of breathing. He sat alongside the road, knocking off that fifth of whiskey and riding me every time I faltered. He was just mean drunk enough to kill me if I stopped. So I dug and I dug. Finally, I couldn't go on anymore. I was too tired to care. I dropped the pick and fell onto the road. My face was in the dirt. I lay there, panting, waiting for the bullet. When it didn't come, I turned my head, and what I saw gave me new life. Jake was sprawled out, dead drunk, and the .45 had slipped from his hand onto the ground. It was my chance. I hardly had enough strength left to move, but I knew if I didn't go then, it'd be too late. I'd never get away. I crawled over to him, and I got the gun, and somehow I got down the road and through that ravine, stumbled and crawled those hideous miles to the highway. And then I heard it, way down the road. With a car. I ran out like a madman and flagged it down.
What is that?
Give me a ride, will you?
Oh, you're American, huh? Going back to the States?
Yeah.
Well, hop in.
I leaned back against the seat, shut my eyes, and slept all the way into Take care.
Okay. Good luck.
$15,000 worth of business, and Jake's 45 in my pocket to guarantee the deal. I went around to that back door and slipped in quietly, and then crept down the hall and up the stairs that Squid Eyes had led me before. This time I entered O'Toole's office without knocking. Hello, O'Toole.
Oh. I didn't expect you back so soon. Sit down. Can I get you something?
Yeah, you can. $15,000.
Afraid I don't understand. We made a deal.
Why didn't you tell me the money was real, not counterfeit, huh?
Well, you seem to know what you were doing, and remember, you placed the value on the money. I did not.
Yeah, well, I've just revalued it. I want it back, all of it.
We made a deal, and I paid you, and I'm through with you.
And you owed me.
How you lost the money I paid you is no concern to me.
I didn't look, then maybe this will be some concern to you. I took enough punishment to get this gun not to hesitate to use it. Now get the money while you're still alive.
Ah, that won't be necessary. How about 10,000?
Look, don't stall. 15.
But I should be allowed to realize some profit.
Hurry up, O'Toole. I haven't got all day.
I'll have to open this.
Then open it.
Will you take it in 10 and 20?
Now, look, you, I don't care how you give it to me, so long as it's American money. Now, quit stalling and get it. I didn't trust him. I expected any minute he'd pull something fast, but he didn't. He gave it to me. I never realized before the power of a gun. It makes short men tall and tall men strong.
Here you are.
Thanks. Now I could fly to Hollywood and have that suite at the Ambassador and throw a cocktail party, a big party. I'd show 'em. First, I stopped at the best men's shop in Juarez and got myself outfitted. An important English tweed suit, cashmere top coat, couple of dozen shirts. I threw away my old clothes.
There will be something else, senor.
I'll take that alligator suitcase, too.
Si, senor, but you must remember when you go through customs, you must declare the clothes you are wearing. I have to report the
Oh, sure, don't worry. And these neckties?
Si, senor.
I paid him with more than I'd spent on clothes in 10 years. I put $500 in my wallet and stashed the rest of the money away in my suitcase. Then I went to the American Club for a good dinner. Now I was all set to make my entrance. All I needed was a plane reservation for Hollywood. I was just going through customs when he ran up.
Stop it.
It was the clerk from the men's shop, gesturing wildly. The customs official listened, and then he came back to me.
I'm sorry, sir, but I have to detain you.
What?
Your wallet, if you please.
Oh, wait, I didn't buy the wallet from him.
If you please, sir, give it to me.
Yeah, but it's just an American Hickok wallet, I tell you.
I'm not interested in the wallet itself, sir. Now, we shall see.
There. You see? I tell you, look, all of it. What are you guys doing with my money?
You admit this is your money, mister?
Of course it is.
Then I'm sorry you'll have to come with me.
Why?
Because, mister, all the money in your wallet is counterfeit.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Border Town by John and Gwen Bagney. Featured in the cast were Jack Webb as Evan, Bill Conrad as Jake, Ben Wright as O'Toole, Tony Barrett as Bryce, and Jeanette Nolan as Nieves. Also heard were Ted DeCorsia, Paul Frees, Bea Benaderet, Jerry Hausner, and Harry Bartell. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week.
You are on a train from Rajahore to Calcutta. With you is a fabulous jewel, the most sought-after emerald in the world, in whose depths are mirrored terror and violence. And for you, there is no escape.
It's a proven surefire formula for better living. If we all work together to produce more per man, per machine, per hour, we all move together toward the benefits in living that are possible only under the American economic system. The better we produce, the better we live. For your free copy of the booklet, Miracle of America, write Box 10, Times Square Station, New York. Stay tuned now for Hit the Jackpot, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
10 p.m. BULOVA Boulevard Watch Time for a truly exquisite Christmas gift. Choose the Boulevard Miss America, only $33.75. Time now for a new secret saying and a new jackpot of prizes topped off by a four-door sedan. Time now for Bill Cullen and Hit the Jackpot. WCBS AM and FM.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett and Myers. First major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A young man walks into your office and tells you he has a problem. From the way he talks, you know it's serious. Your job, listen. Today, friends, you hear these three words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. Best for you, because Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine. The taste you want, the mildness you want. Chesterfield is best for you because it's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield is best for you because it has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 8th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Warman. My name's Friday. I was on my way back to the office from R&I, and it was 10:14 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Pardon me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you a policeman?
Yes, sir, that's right. What can I do for you?
I want to talk to somebody. I'm not sure who, though.
Well, if you tell me what it's all about, I might be able to help you.
Well, I got to be sure it's the right person. You can understand that, can't you?
Yes, sir.
My name's Paul Marcus.
All right, Mr. Marcus, what is it you want to talk about?
You work in there in the homicide department?
That's right.
You know all about murders, then, huh?
You want to come into the office and talk?
No, I don't want to go in there. Is there someplace else we can go? I'd like to talk to you alone. This is kind of a personal thing.
All right, sir. Come on down the hall. Interrogation room.
Nobody else there?
No.
Well, that's good, because like I told you, this is a personal matter. I need your advice.
All right, sir, this way.
This is the first time I've ever been in the police department. I feel kind of funny just walking in and talking personal things to a stranger.
Yes, sir, I can understand. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Want to sit down right there?
Thank you.
All right, you want to tell me about it?
You mind closing the door?
All right. All right, now what's your problem, Mr. Marcus?
I told you it was personal.
Yes, I know.
I want to be sure I handle it right. I could get in a lot of trouble if I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Been trying to figure out what to do about it for a week now and couldn't find the right answer. That's why I came here. You guys should know.
All right, now if you'll just tell me what's bothering you, we might be able to do something for you.
Uh-huh. A whole week and no answer. I sure hope you got it for me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Marcus, but if you don't tell me what this is all about, there's nothing we can do.
Well, it's nothing big, just a personal problem. I just want to know how to handle it.
All right, go ahead.
I killed a woman.
10:18 a.m. We got the name of the woman Paul Marcus said that he'd murdered. We also obtained a description of the victim, and Frank went down the hall to missing persons to see if a report had been filed on her. I waited with the suspect.
It's a personal problem. You know how to handle it, and I wasn't sure. That's why I came to you.
All right, where did you meet this Lorraine Farrell?
San Francisco.
How long ago?
A couple of weeks. I just knew her a little while before it happened, just a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Fisherman's Wharf.
What's that?
Fisherman's Wharf. That's where I met her in San Francisco. I was on a vacation. 2 weeks with pay, and I went to San Francisco. Fisherman's Wharf. That's where I met Lorraine.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I was down there sitting on the dock looking at the boats, just sitting there eating prawns. You know how they cook them in those great big pots?
Yeah.
Well, I was just sitting there eating prawns, and I met her.
Well, where'd you kill her?
Look, you got to let me tell this in my own way, or I'm not going to tell you at all. It's got to be right so you'll understand. Now, if you don't get it right, the whole thing's gone wrong. You see, it's a real personal thing.
All right, sir, go ahead.
Well, I was just sitting there eating prawns, eating them, and throwing the little tail pieces down in the water.
You know how you do.
Mm-hmm.
Watching them kind of float around, and kind of all of a sudden, she was right there sitting just alongside of me.
You ever see her before?
I never laid eyes on her till then.
All right, go ahead.
Well, we both sat there for a minute, and then we started to talk. Just little things like nice weather and how long you've been in San Francisco, things like that. You know how you do.
How old did you say the feral woman was?
19, turned 19 the 5th of August.
All right.
She was born there, in San Francisco. She told me about it when we were talking, how she was born there and grew up there.
Yeah.
Told me all about the school she went to, how she used to play on Strawberry Island and Stowe Lake. You ever been there?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of a beautiful place, They got those rowboats, and you paddle around the lake, and right in the middle is this island, Strawberry Island. There's all those swans that swim around. You can feed them. Real beautiful, Strawberry Island.
Tell me something, Marcus. You ever been in the hospital?
Huh?
You ever had any mental care? Been under the supervision of a psychiatrist, maybe?
You think I'm crazy, don't you?
No, I just asked you a question.
Well, I'm not. I've never been to a doctor. I'm telling you the truth. You'll see.
All right, you want to go ahead?
I guess you get a lot of crackpots in here telling you all kinds of phony stories, huh?
The doors are wide open all night.
I guess you get a lot of them. But I'm not a crackpot. I'm telling you the truth. I did kill her. But it's important you know why I did it. I got to tell you the right way. If I don't, none of it's going to be any good.
When'd you kill her?
September 1st. That's the day we left. September 1st.
That'd be a week ago today, huh?
Yeah, September 1st.
Joe?
Yeah.
See you in a minute.
All right. Just a minute, Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you got?
Well, I checked missing persons.
Yeah.
I got a report on the girl, same name, description matches.
When'd she disappear?
September 1st.
Well, that fits in with what he told us.
Yeah, but there's something that doesn't.
What's that?
She's 16 years old.
Each year, there are hundreds of citizens who walk into the nearest police station and confess to some sort of crime. Some have actually happened. Others have occurred only in the mind of the person confessing. No matter how wild the confession, how implausible the details of the crime, each report has to be checked out. To doctors, such cases are clinical. But to the working detective, they're the cause of a lot of legwork and a great deal of checking. They cost the taxpayer untold man-hours in investigating time and many times result in nothing. Because of his attitude and his reluctance to give us the complete story all at once, it appeared that Paul Marcus might be one of these people. The fact that he named a girl who was missing meant little, since it was possible for him to have read the story in a newspaper. The only way we had of being sure was to continue the interrogation. 10:34 a.m.
She told me she wanted to get away from home. That's what she told me, how it was rough for her there, and she wanted to get away.
Mm-hmm. That's when you said you'd bring her down here, is that right?
Oh, no, I didn't even suggest it. The whole thing was her idea.
She brought it up?
Yes. You see, after that first day on Fisherman's Wharf, I saw her several times. Almost every day we'd meet someplace and talk.
Where would you meet her?
Well, sometimes in one of the hotel bars. Once we met out at the Steinhardt Aquarium. We met on the rotunda there. You know where they have the big pool and all the alligators swimming around? You know where?
Uh-huh.
Well, we met there once, and we walked over to the place where they have the band concerts right across the way where the band plays, only they weren't there that day. Wasn't anybody there, just Lorraine and me. We sat on the benches and talked. That's when she said she wanted to go with me.
To Los Angeles, huh?
Yeah. That's where I was going, and she wanted me to take her.
She came right out and asked you.
Sure. Told me how it was hard for her at home, and she wanted to get away. She told me she had friends here. Said she could stay with them until she got things straightened out. You know, get a job and a place of her own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was going to do that, get a place of her own and a job, and then she'd be all right.
Did you ever meet her parents?
No, I never went to the house. She told me where it was, though, someplace out by the Twin Peaks Tunnel. I didn't know where exactly. She didn't want me to go out there. Said it would only cause her more trouble. That's why I'd meet her in town.
You ever meet any of her friends up in San Francisco?
Yeah, just once we were in a drugstore on Market Street having a sandwich. We were just sitting there, and she was telling me how it was bad for her at home, and a girl came in. Looked like she was a schoolgirl. You know how I mean, young?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she came in and talked to Lorraine, then they went over to the phone booths and talked.
You didn't actually meet the girl?
No. Lorraine said if I did, the girl might say something to Lorraine's parents, and that would cause trouble.
You know this girl's name?
I think it was Grace. I'm not sure, but I think it was Grace.
When did you leave San Francisco?
Wednesday morning, September 1st. I wanted to get back in time to get some rest before I had to go to work. You know, my vacation was up, and I had to go back to work.
Where'd you pick up the girl?
Wasn't a pickup. I was sitting on Fisherman's Wharf eating prawns and looking at the boats, and we started to talk. Wasn't a pickup. We just got friendly.
No, Marcus, he means that where'd you pick up the girl when you left for Los Angeles?
Oh, I thought you meant when I met her the first time. That's what I thought.
Uh-huh.
I met her out at the tunnel.
Where's that?
Well, you know where Castro Street runs into Market, where the L car comes in from the beach? That's where I met her. She came from home, had her suitcase and all, and she came out on the L car.
All right, go ahead.
Well, she got off the streetcar, got into my car, and we left for Los Angeles.
Where'd you kill her?
I told you before, if I don't tell it my way, it isn't going to work. You're not going to understand. It's got to be my way.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Well, it was a beautiful day, just the kind of a day you want when you're going on a drive. You know how I mean, clear and the sun shining.
Yeah.
Well, that's what kind of a day it was.
Uh-huh.
You could see all across the bay over to Berkeley and way up north. It was real clear.
You want to go ahead with your story?
Mr. Friday?
Mm-hmm.
My way?
Yes, all right, go ahead.
All right. We drove all day, stopped for lunch at a place near San Luis Obispo, a little lunch stand there. Had a French dip sandwich. It was one of the best I ever had. The meat was real lean, and they didn't sop up the bun with the gravy. Just the right amount. One of the best I ever ate.
Mm-hmm.
Lorraine liked them, too. She didn't like the bread all sopped up with gravy.
Well, go ahead. What happened after you had lunch?
Well, we left there and drove on. We got down to around Malibu. I guess it was really before that where the divided highway is, up the coast. You know where the cliffs are?
Yeah, we know.
Well, we stopped. She was such a beautiful night, I just wanted to sit there and look at the ocean. People don't take time anymore.
Well, what happened then?
We just sat there, had a cigarette, and talked. That's when I told her. First time I ever said it.
What was that?
It's funny, I guess most fellas say it a lot. You know how I mean, to a bunch of girls that never mean it.
Go ahead.
I told her. First time I said I loved her, and I told her that she didn't have to get a job, that I wanted to marry her, get her a house and all, and she wouldn't have no more trouble at home. How she'd have her own home and everything would be all right. I told her all that.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, right then. You could divide the second in a million parts, and in one of the parts I knew I had to do it.
Kill her?
Yeah. You see, she didn't tell me the real reason. She lied to me, and I knew I had to do it. So she wouldn't lie to anyone else. You can understand that. You can see why I had to do it.
Well, maybe you better tell us.
Well, it was all a lie, all about the family being mean to her. All that was a lie. She just wanted to get to Los Angeles because she wanted to meet some other fella here. That's why. She lied about the family, and that's why she did it. So, you see, I had to kill her. I had to.
How'd you kill her?
Huh?
I said, how did you kill her?
We got out of the car and walked over to the cliffs. We could see right down to the ocean. We just stood there. I just hit her. She fell down. It was quiet. So I pushed her over into the water.
Mm-hmm. What'd you do then, Marcus?
I got in the car and drove home.
You just left her there, huh?
Certainly. There wasn't anything I could do for her.
You point out the place where all this happened?
Oh, sure. It's up the coast where the highway's divided, north of Malibu. It's real easy to find.
Anybody else around?
You mean when I hit her?
That's right.
No, we were all alone. I didn't see anybody, just the two of us.
All right, Marcus, you willing to give us a statement on all this?
You mean what I just told you?
Yeah.
Well, sure. You want me to tell all about it again?
We'll call in a stenographer.
So you can write it down, huh?
That's the idea.
Well, sure, I'll tell her.
Tell me something, Marcus. When did you get out of the hospital?
I told you before I was never in one. You guys sure make it tough, don't you?
What's that?
I came in here because I wanted to tell you about Lorraine. I wanted you to know so you wouldn't think it was my fault, that's all. So you wouldn't think it was my fault, and now you don't believe me. You think I'm just another crackpot trying to sell a phony story. You guys sure make it tough.
We gotta be sure.
Well, I'm telling you the truth. I want you to believe me.
Yeah.
I want you to believe me.
And we're beginning to. A statement was taken from the suspect, and he was booked in at the main jail on a charge of suspicion of violation of Section 187 PC, murder. We sent a teletype to San Francisco, and we contacted Inspectors Ed Vandervoort and John O'Hare of Homicide Detail. We filled them in and asked that they check out the suspect's story on their end. We also asked that they send us all available information on the missing girl and that they check with her family and try to get a list of any known associates that she might have had in the Los Angeles area. Frank and I checked out of the office at 7:48 p.m. and we went home for the night. The following morning at 9:23 a.m., Inspector Vandervoort from San Francisco called back. Uh-huh. Yeah. When was that, Ed? Wait a minute. All right, yeah, I got it. How about friends down here? I say, how about friends down here? Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Well, it should be here this afternoon then. Right. Yeah, we'll check them out. No, that's on the way. We put it in the mail for you last... Well, you should have it by now, then. Huh? Okay, right. Right, Ed, thanks very much. We'll be checking with you. Right. Bye. How about it? Well, they checked the family and the friends, the place where Marcus said he stayed up there.
Yeah.
Marcus' story checks out all the way.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
One of the biggest comedy hits of the year. That's how the movie critics are describing Bob Hope's latest Paramount picture, Casanova's Big Night. Like so many other millions of smokers, Bob and Audrey Dalton, who appears with him in the picture, say Chesterfields for me. First, Audrey Dalton.
I changed to Chesterfield king size because I think it's better than any other king size cigarette.
Bob Hope says,
5 years. That's how long I've been smoking Chesterfields. And they have what it takes to satisfy me. What's more, I've seen how they make Chesterfields down in their Durham factory. And I wouldn't smoke any other cigarette. Try Chesterfields yourself. You'll find they're best for you, too.
Yes, either way, regular or king size, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield.
In the phone conversation, we learned that all of Lorraine Farrell's friends and relatives had been interviewed and their stories checked with the one given us by the suspect, Marcus. The girl and Paul Marcus had been seen together in the Bay City. The desk clerk at the hotel where the suspect had stayed verified the date that he'd checked out. It was the same day Lorraine Farrell disappeared. The officers in San Francisco were able to contact the girl the suspect had referred to as Grace. She recalled seeing a man answering Marcus' description with a missing Farrell girl. Frank and I spent the rest of the day checking on the suspect. We talked to the people he worked with. They described Marcus as being moody and withdrawn. We talked with his landlady. Her description of the suspect's attitude was the same that we'd gotten before. We thoroughly searched Marcus's apartment, and in a desk drawer we found a loose-leaf notebook with several pages of penciled notes describing the trip that he'd taken up to San Francisco. On one of the pages, at the back of the book, we found a lengthy letter to a Lorraine, in which Marcus apologized to the girl for killing her, but he went on to explain that he had no choice. We booked this evidence. The following morning, Friday, September 10th, Frank and I drove down to the beach and we talked to the people in the vicinity where the suspect said the murder had occurred. We found an elderly couple who lived in a trailer on the beach. They recalled having seen two people answering the description of the suspect and the missing girl on the night that the murder occurred. We drove back to the main jail and we signed out Marcus. We took him down to the car and we drove him out to the beach. We turned up the highway and told him to let us know when we came to the place where he killed the Farrell girl.
Sure you know where the place is, Marcus?
Yeah, I remember. It's just up the road a little bit. Just keep right on going. You'll find it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see it now. There's kind of a parking place and a couple of trees. Eucalyptus, I think. There's two of them on the side of the parking place. You can't miss them. It's right ahead there on the left. There, you see?
Yeah. We'll pull in, Frank.
Okay. Just look at all those cars. Everybody's in such a hurry they never see anything, just like they had blinders on.
You sure this is the place?
I told you, didn't I? No reason to say a thing like that if it wasn't true. Just pull right in there. That's it, right over there. Well, right here is where I parked when it happened. Maybe over there a little bit more, but... Oh, right about here.
And the two of you just sat here for a few minutes, is that it?
Yeah. We just sat here and had a cigarette, and then we got out of the car and walked over to the edge of the cliff.
All right, come on. Show us.
Sure. So you'll believe me, I'll show you. Now, we stood right over there. Right there, and I told her I was in love with her and wanted to marry her.
Now, you stay here. Just point out where you were.
You think I might try to jump off, don't you? That's what you think, isn't it?
You just show us, huh?
Wouldn't do that. There's no reason to. I don't know why you wouldn't agree that I had to do it. I didn't have any other way to do it.
Where were you when you hit her?
Right there, near that clump of grass. We stood there and looked down at the ocean, and she told me about this other guy. That's when I hit her. She fell down right about there.
Uh-huh. And where'd you push her off the cliff?
There, right where I hit her. She was lying there. I guess she hit her head on something, and she was real quiet. I just rolled her over the edge. It was right there. There, you see where the rocks are kind of worn?
Go and take a look.
Yeah.
No, you wait here.
Gee, if I'd have known it was going to be this hard to get it straightened out, I don't think I'd have started the thing. When am I going to get out of jail?
That isn't up to us.
Well, then I want to talk to the people who it's up to. I got to tell them about Lorraine, how she lied to me and why I had to kill her. As soon as they hear the story, they'll understand. They got to realize that there wasn't any other way.
How's it look?
Well, I found this caught in the branch just over the edge.
Yeah.
It's a girl's handkerchief. Read the name on it.
Yeah. Lorraine. Friday, September 10th, 3:46 p.m. We contacted the crime lab and asked them to come out and go over the scene. Officers stood by so that any physical evidence would not be disturbed until Lieutenant Lee Jones and his men had an opportunity to go over it. Frank and I, along with the suspect, drove back to town where we made arrangements with the city lifeguard service to search for the body. The following morning, a boat equipped with diving gear left Santa Monica Harbor and took a course north. Experienced deep-sea divers searched the crevices in the rocks beneath the cliffs. All of the sea bordering the vicinity was gone over. There was no trace of a body. The shoreline on either side of the murder spot was checked. Still no trace of the missing girl. In the meantime, 2 additional teams of men were assigned to check out the friends of Lorraine Farrell. They carried pictures of Paul Marcus and attempted to dig out any information on the suspect and the missing girl. 6:42 p.m., Sunday. We called the main jail and asked that the suspect be brought to the city hall for additional questioning.
I had a reason to do what I did, a good reason. Now, you let me talk to the responsible people around here, and I'll have them tell you. I'm getting a little tired of being shoved around. You just bring in the boss and let me talk to him.
What day did you say that you left San Francisco?
September 1st.
I thought it was the 2nd.
The 1st.
You said you left in the afternoon, is that right?
In the morning, and you remember it. I don't know what all these questions are for. I told you I killed Lorraine. I walked in here and told you there's no reason for all this McGilla. Just no reason.
Where'd you hide the body?
I didn't hide it.
Well, then where is it?
I told you I put her in the ocean.
We haven't been able to find her.
Well, then you're not looking good. I told you the truth all along the line. I've told you the
sure
truth.
You didn't make a mistake about where all this happened?
Not a chance in the world. Right there by the parking place where the 2 trees are.
Well, maybe you just thought you left her there.
I know it.
Had you been drinking when you killed her?
No. We stopped and had a couple of beers on the way. Just a couple, not enough to get drunk.
But you did have something to drink.
Well, sure, but not enough to get drunk on.
How many beers you have?
2, maybe 3.
All right, which was it? 2 or 3?
Well, what difference does it make?
Were you drunk?
No.
How about the girl? Was she drunk?
No.
You sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure. What are you trying to do? What difference does it make? Maybe we did have more than a couple, but what difference does it make?
I'm just trying to get things straight.
We want to be sure we got the right story.
Well, you have.
All right. How about a cigarette, huh?
Yeah, thanks.
Frank?
Yeah, thanks. Here, I got a match.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't light his, too. That's bad.
What do you mean?
3 on a match. It's bad.
It is, huh?
Well, sure. You never do that. Here.
Thanks.
You got right home after you killed the Farrell girl, huh?
Yeah. I drove right down the highway and went home. Traffic was kind of heavy. I thought about it. All those people all hurrying around, not taking any time.
Anybody see you when you came home?
What do you mean?
Well, anybody see you park the car, go into your apartment?
Well, no, there wasn't anybody around.
Now, you said when you met the girl up in San Francisco that she had a suitcase with her, is that right?
Yeah, she did. Artificial leather with real leather binding.
And where is it now?
Huh?
What'd you do with her suitcase?
Well, I don't know. I don't remember it.
We couldn't find it in your room.
Well, you didn't have no right to go through my room. No right at all.
We didn't find the suitcase. Where is it?
Well, I don't know.
Did you put it with a body?
Well, I might have.
Where?
I don't know. I don't remember. I hit her. She lied to me, and I hit her. Then I pushed her into the ocean. That's all I know. And that's all I'm going to tell you.
Joe, see you a minute.
Yeah, sure. What do you got, Al?
We found the girl.
Where?
She's sitting in the squad room.
Frank stayed with the suspect in the interrogation room, and I went with Sergeant Al Olivas up to the office. Sitting at one of the tables was a small girl with jet black hair. As we came into the room, she was putting on lipstick. She glanced over at us, and then she went back to what she was doing. There wasn't any doubt about it. The girl in the squad room was Lorraine Farrell. She dyed her hair, and she had on a lot of makeup. But it was the missing girl.
Joe, this is Miss Farrell. Joe Friday.
How do you do?
Hi.
Where'd you find her, Al?
Friend up in Eagle Rock. Says she's been there for a week.
Thanks, Al.
Right.
You seen the papers lately, Miss Farrell?
Yeah, I read the funnies.
You ought to read the front page. You've been on them.
All right?
Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of policemen out looking for you.
They probably needed the exercise anyway.
There's a man down the hall who thinks that he killed you.
That creep, Paul?
Yeah, Paul Marcus, that's his name.
Real creep. I was glad to get away from him. Well, I guess he tried to give me about our home. What a baloney. He's a real creep. You ought to keep an eye on him. He's going to wig one of these days.
Is that so?
Yeah. He drove me down here, and when I told him I didn't want to have anything to do with him, he got real sore, started yelling. Creep.
Where'd all this happen, miss?
Oh, out by Malibu. Road out there. Stopped the car and gave me all the stuff about wanting to marry me. I was in love with me. Big deal. Said I was the first girl I ever said that to. Big deal.
What happened then?
I told him I didn't want no part of him. Told him to get lost. Thanked him for the ride and told him to get lost. He flipped. Bad, he flipped. I took off, got a ride, came into the town. I got this girlfriend in Eagle Rock. I've been out there. You ought to watch that guy, though.
Mm-hmm. How old did you tell him that you were?
I don't know. Forget. I think 19, something like that. Forget.
Mm-hmm.
He confessed to killing me, huh?
That's right.
Flipped. He's a wig.
Let's take a walk, huh?
Where?
Come on.
Sure. I got nothing to lose. Can you guys drive me back to Eagle Rock tonight? I got a date. I got to be back pretty quick.
You're not going to go back to Eagle Rock.
Who says so?
We're going to have to hold you.
For what? I haven't done anything.
Well, you're a minor. We've got a missing report filed on you. Your folks are pretty worried.
They're always worrying about something. If there ain't nothing for them to worry about, then they worry about that.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. We're going to have to hold you.
You just try it, cop. You just try it. You'll find out you got more trouble than you came in one lump.
Uh-huh. In here. This is Lorraine Farrell, Officer Smith.
Hello. Lorraine.
Hi, creep.
I didn't mean to do it. You know that. I didn't really mean to do it, but there wasn't any other way.
What's planned? You know what he's talking about?
He thinks he killed you.
Wait.
I didn't think I'd ever see you again. I didn't think I would. But I want you to know one thing, Lorraine.
What's that?
I forgive you for lying.
I told you it hadn't.
Yeah, come on.
Where to?
We'll take you to the office and call a policewoman.
Then to the can, huh?
To juvenile hall. Come on, let's go.
I'll take her, Joe.
Right.
Bye, Paul.
Bye, Lorraine. I'm not mad at you anymore.
You know, I was worried.
Sergeant?
Yeah.
I want you to know how I appreciate it.
Yeah, what's that?
What you tried to do, I think was real fine, thanks.
I don't know what you mean.
You didn't fool me a bit.
Huh?
I know I killed her.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 4th, the hearing was held in Department 98, Superior Court, State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that hearing.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Earlier, George Fenneman told you exactly why the Chesterfield you smoked today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you. Now, the rest is up to you. Get a carton or two for yourself. Smoke them and you'll say as we do, it's Chesterfields for me.
Paul Nelson Marcus was held to answer a charge of violation of Section 701 WIC, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. After due deliberation, he was placed on probation and delivered into the hands of a competent psychiatrist. Lorraine Jean Farrell was returned to the custody of her parents. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter tip smokers. This is it. L&M Filters. The one filter tip cigarette with plenty of good taste. Much more flavor. Much less nicotine. And effective filtration. Only L&M filters have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose, the purest material for filtering cigarette smoke. Yes, this is it. As Bennett Cerf puts it, L&M filters are just what the doctor ordered. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette. L&M filters, America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette.
Hear Frank Sinatra as Rocky Fortune following John Cameron Swayze and the news on the NBC Radio Network.
name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Wednesday at 9, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Paul Dubov as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's story titled, It All Comes Back to Me Now.
She was about medium-sized, brunette, beautiful, and bewildered. She couldn't remember where she'd come from or where she was going. Couldn't remember her own name. Just one thing she could remember. She wanted to commit murder. She was in the office of my boss, Anthony J. Lyon, that Friday morning, sitting there across the desk from him, holding onto her battered purse like it was the last thing in the world she was sure of. But the Lion or I didn't know she was right.
Oh, Jeffrey, come in. I've been waiting for you.
Morning, Fatso. New client?
Yes, Jeffrey. I think we could call her that. Jeffrey, this is Miss...
That's a very interesting name, Fatso. My name's Regan, Miss.
How do you do, Mr. Regan?
Jeffrey, she has a terrible problem.
Somebody does.
She can't remember her name.
Please, can't you help me? I don't remember anything.
You remember how you got here to our office?
No, not anything.
From when?
From now. Except, there was a door. It said detective agency. I walked in.
Yes. Jeffrey, what are we going to do about Miss Smith?
Smith?
Well, we've got to call her something, haven't we?
All right, Smith.
Jeffrey, this is a matter for the police. A Bureau of Missing Persons. Surely...
Oh, no, Mr. Lyon, please. Not the police.
What's that?
Oh, please, Mr. Regan, please don't let him call the police.
People who can't remember their names usually can't remember they shouldn't go to the police, Miss Smith.
But Oh.
Look, lady, if you don't want to go to the cops, there's got to be a reason.
Well, then, look at this.
Jeffrey.
.32 caliber revolver, Smith & Wesson. Loaded except for 2 empty shells.
You see, Mr. Regan.
The gun's been fired, Jeffrey?
2 bullets missing. Miss Smith?
I don't know.
Jeffrey, that settles it. We call
Lyon,
the
I
police.
think Miss Smith hasn't quite finished her story. The gun in her purse isn't the only reason she doesn't want to go to the police. That right, Miss Smith?
Mr. Regan, I try to remember. There was a house somewhere. A small house. I was in a room.
Go on.
No, I can't.
Keep trying, Miss Smith.
I was going somewhere. Alone. I wanted to see someone. I think I was on my way to kill someone.
Fatso, get some water. She's fainted.
Here, water? Jeffrey, don't just stand there. Call an ambulance.
The Lion was right. Miss Smith wasn't just a quick faint. Her breath came in short, hushed spurts, and her pulse was a whisper. Beside her, the battered little purse had fallen open. Inside, $2.17 and a receipt for cab fare. No wallet, no identification. I picked up the receipt. It was dated that morning, Friday, and totaled $3.70. It was a lead. I sent the Lion with Miss Smith in the ambulance and then headed for the main office of the cab company. It took me 2 hours to get what I wanted. The receipt was for cab number 702, one of the new cars the company added, and it was usually driven by one Joseph Rupnick. Another hour passed, and he pulled into the cab stand out front of the main office. Joe Rupnick?
Who else?
Let's drive.
My pleasure, Tom.
Where to, Mac? Did you drive a medium-sized brunette this morning, Joe?
Oh, it'd be a pleasure.
Think. Fair complexion, good-looking, very good-looking. Carried a little black leather purse. The fare was $3.70.
$3.70, huh?
You know, it's a nice fare.
What'll it buy, $3.70?
Well, let's see. $3.70 should ought to take you out to Westwood.
You got a record of your stops today. What about Westwood?
Yeah, I guess I have. Hey, Mac, what do you know? She was lovely, she was engaged, and she used my cab. Oh, what a dish. Bewitched, bothered, and brunette. I seen her, and I'm glad.
Never mind the tone poems. Where did you pick her up?
In Westwood. Where else?
Okay, let's go there.
This is it, Mac. Right here on this corner. She was standing here. Naturally, I stopped.
Naturally. Thanks. See you around.
No, you're welcome, but I'm staying.
Staying where?
Now, look, right here, Mac. Look. You don't have to be a mind reader to spot you for a private eye, shamus, or gumshoe. This means the jackpot. My cab is at your service.
That's your business, Joe. Only keep your flag up.
Shouldn't worry about a thing. Besides, when else do I get a chance to check the horses at Tanforan?
Joe Rupnick pulled a racing form out of his pocket, and I looked at the place he'd pointed out. According to Joe, Miss Smith had been standing in front of a white one-story building with a two-story sign that said Parker's Service. It was an auto repair shop, a big one, the kind that specializes in foreign cars, custom sedans, and rich customers.
Mr. Parker. Telephone call, Mr. Parker.
Yes, sir? And what can I do for you, sir?
I'm looking for a girl. She used to work here.
Sarah? You're looking for Sarah?
About medium-sized, good-looking?
Yeah, that's Sarah. Well, she quit yesterday. She was in here this morning to pick up her check. Me, I'm just taking her place. And it's not a bad job. Not bad at all. Mr. Parker, he's a nice guy. A very nice...
Could you give...
pardon me just a moment, please. Parker's Service? Yeah, just a moment, please.
Could you give me Sarah's address?
Huh?
Could you give me Sarah's address?
Well, I could check for you. You see, I'm new here and
Sure. By the way, what's Sarah's last name? I've forgotten.
Sarah Hanson. So you didn't know her very well, did you?
Blind date.
Oh, yeah. I understand. And she forgot to give you her address. Sure, I'll find out for you, mister. Glad to.
The girl behind the counter winked at me and went back into the office, and before I could turn around, there was somebody at my elbow. And I had that feeling you get when you know someone's staring down your neck. I turned, and I was right. Tall man, neatly dressed, business suit, about 35. Suntan that spelled 18 holes of golf on Sunday, private club, Chamber of Commerce.
I beg your pardon, sir. Did I overhear you asking for Sarah Hanson?
Maybe you did.
My name's Parker.
Mine's Regan.
I wonder if you'd be kind enough to step into my office.
Okay.
This way, Mr. Regan. You see, I happen to be particularly interested in a girl, Miss Hanson. She's unusually intelligent, a superior worker. I hated to see her leave. Here we are, Mr. Regan. Have a chair. A cigarette?
No, thanks. Let's stick to Miss Hanson.
Oh, yes, Mr. Regan. I was quite curious at your interest in Sarah Hanson. She's not the sort of girl to have many, shall we say, gentlemen friends.
Really? What sort of girl is she?
Well, more on the quiet side. Intelligent, as I've said, and not at all emotional. Sarah was a very
superior worker. Come on, Parker. I haven't got all day. A girl quit her job and you want to know why. Is that it?
Well, I'm curious.
There's more to it than that. I saw 4 secretaries in your front office alone. One named Sarah wasn't that good.
Very well, Mr. Regan. I'm going to tell you the truth. Certain malcontents, certain vicious elements in my organization, irresponsible rumor mongers have been saying that Miss Benson and I... Well, there isn't a word of truth in it.
I'm still listening.
I'm a happily married man, Mr. Regan. You understand what rumors of this sort do to a man.
Go on.
I'm going to put a stop to it. You understand? Once and for all,
Okay. Take it easy, Parker.
I'm sorry I lost my temper, Mr. Regan. This thing has been gnawing at me for months. That's why I finally discharged Miss Hanson.
That's what you've been trying to say. You fired Sarah Hanson. You think that's why I'm here?
Well, yes,
It's just a job, Mr. Parker. We all got to make a living. Somewhere in it, a story was beginning to take shape. Parker apologized again, and I left his private office. Out front, the receptionist had Sarah Hanson's address, and I took it. When I got to the street, Joe Rupnick's cab was still sitting there.
Hop in, Mac. I'm available. You find the girl?
No, but I've got an address.
Great. I got them all lined up for tomorrow at Tanforan. Let's go.
It was past Pico on Bentley. Took us 5 minutes to pull up in front of a bungalow converted into a duplex. I left Joe with his racing form and newspaper and went up to the door that belonged to Sarah Hanson. I rang the doorbell. No answer. I knocked. Same results. The sun was sinking somewhere in the distance, and the early mist, the prelude to fog, was settling in fast. I tried the doorknob. No results. And then something told me to get inside that apartment, to get in with or without a permit, with or without a key. I walked around back until I found a window unlocked. The screen was easy, and I climbed up. My stomach scraped across the windowsill, and I was inside. Dark, dank, stale-smelling air. Something foul and disagreeable. I wanted to turn and leave and get out of the stinking apartment. But I didn't. Instead, I moved slowly along the wall into darkness and fumbled until I hit the light switch. The lights didn't change the smell, but it told a story. Chairs upside down. Picture frame smashed to the floor. 2 dishes broken in 1,000 pieces. And the sofa cushions on top of each other in a corner. The whole place turned upside down, looking like a clapboard shack after a hurricane. I moved into the living room, picking up pieces, searching for anything. And I found something. In front of the imitation fireplace on the carpet, a pool of blood.
Hey, Mac. You okay?
Yeah, Joe.
Look, Mac, I think I got something important.
Be there in a minute.
Never mind. I'll climb through the window. Hey, look, Mac, I want you to take a look at this. I was reading while I was waiting for you.
Early edition of the afternoon paper.
Yeah. Look on page 2. You find it, Mac?
Yeah. I found it. Story on page 2. The body of a girl found washed up on Will Rogers State Beach, tentatively identified as Sarah Hanson.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator, entitled, It All Comes Back to Me Now. CBS brings you many of the most exciting programs on the air. For example, Sundays at 5:30. A face in the shadows, a blood-stained burnoose, a beautiful dancing girl may set Rocky Jordan on an exciting adventure in ancient Cairo. Follow Rocky Jordan as he moves through the dangerous streets of the capital of Egypt. Meet Rocky Jordan this Sunday at 5:30 on CBS. And now, back to tonight's story titled, It All Comes Back to Me Now, and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Joe, the cab driver, stepped on the gas, and we headed for the police. I sat in the back seat, the folded newspaper in my lap, and tried to make sense out of a story so twisted even the principal characters no longer made sense. A girl with amnesia hires the Lion and me to help her find herself. She says she remembered wanting to kill someone. She collapses, and I follow a lead to a cab driver, to a repair shop in Westwood, to the home of one Sarah Benson, That was when I read the early afternoon paper which said a girl had been found washed up on Will Rogers State Beach. Her name, Sarah Hansen. It was getting late. Street lights turned on, traffic jamming and honking its way up Sunset. But that didn't stop Joe Rupnick from hitting 40 between the cars. We made the police station at 6:45. Okay, thanks, Joe. That does it.
What do you think, I'm leaving? Me, a sucker for a mystery? I gotta know how this comes out.
It took me 15 minutes to get to Lieutenant Candid.
Hi, Regan.
Candid, I got a couple of questions.
Regan, I am tired to the very bottom of my large, flat feet. Let's make it tomorrow.
It can't wait.
All right, Regan. What's her name?
Listen, Candid, all I want to know is where you got your identification for Sarah Hansen.
Sarah Hansen, age 27, height 5'4", weight about 117, hair blonde, eyes brown.
Blonde.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
You fished her up off Santa Monica?
Will Rogers State Beach. We didn't find her. Some swimmers did. They called.
You weren't looking for her?
Looking. We didn't know Sarah Hansen from my friend Irma. What's eating you, Regan?
Candid, just tell me something else. Who identified the girl for you?
Only her mother and father and brother and sister, that's all.
Okay, Candid. Sorry I bothered you.
It's all right. We can't find the murder weapon. We haven't got a lead on the killer, and I got to talk to you yet.
She was shot?
2 slugs in her chest. 32s. Maybe Smith & Wesson. Gun's missing.
That part of it wasn't in the papers.
Don't we look bad enough already without making it worse? All we got on this case is a body. Even if it is a nice one.
When was she killed, Candid?
This morning, somewhere between 1 and 2 a.m., the coroner says. That isn't all.
What else?
Well, from the tire marks they found up the beach, there was another idea. We think maybe she was shot somewhere else and then driven down to the beach.
This Sarah Hansen, she worked?
Yeah, a place out in Westwood. Called, Parker's Service. We'll check everyone out there. Takes time.
What about an address, Candid? Where did she live?
Well, the parents say she moved out of their place a couple of months ago. Seems they had a fight, she and the parents. She wouldn't tell them where she was moving.
They tell you anything else?
Sarah Hansen was afraid of something, they said. Had them worried. That's when the fight started. She used to get phone calls from a woman.
A woman?
Yeah, every time this woman called, Sarah would leave the phone crying. Only happened a couple of times.
Did they ever see this woman?
Nope. They were wondering if it might be another girl who worked with Sarah. Feud.
Only you haven't checked the employees yet.
Like I said, Regan, it takes time. The shop opens up first thing in the morning. My men will be there.
Thanks, Candid. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Regan, where do you fit in this?
Pliant, Candid. You know how it is.
Maybe I don't, Regan. If you know something...
I don't know anything, Candid.
You wouldn't lie to me, would you? Sarah Hansen was a good-looking dame. A real good-looking dame.
I never met her.
You sure, Regan?
I'm sure.
Okay, I'll take your word. She's a real nice-looking dame, like I said. Kind you hate to see turn up. Dead. You want to see her, Regan?
All right, Candid. We'll see her. Candid and I went to the morgue. We saw her. Sarah Hansen. Medium-sized, good-looking blonde. She looked nothing like the girl who'd come to the Lyons office without a memory. Yet somewhere Sarah Hansen and Miss Smith fit together. Somewhere their lives became crossed and tangled up and then went separately again. Miss Smith's to a blank memory. Sarah Hansen's to death. Somewhere something made both things happen. That gave me an idea. I went upstairs to Missing Persons and checked every record I could find that even faintly resembled our client, Miss Smith. Nothing did. I headed outside. Joe Rupnick was still sitting in the taxi. He turned it around, and we headed for the L.A. County Hospital.
Jeffrey, there you are.
Trouble, Fatso?
Trouble? I've been sitting here all day, wasting time and money.
How's she doing, Fatso?
Is she? Oh, Miss Smith, fine. She's doing fine. Doctor says she was merely weak from too much tension brought on by the amnesia.
Good, Lion. I think we may have something.
We may have something. You're darn right we have something. Hospital bills, doctors, nurses' bills. Every time the door opens to that girl's room, I add another $5. Jeffrey, this is ridiculous. We're not Fort Knox. How do you think the Lion Detective Agency can pay for
Take
these
it
bills?
easy, Fatso. Remember, it was your idea to bring Miss Smith here.
So what if it was my idea?
That's right, Lion. You call the ambulance.
Well, that's no reason why we have to pay.
Mr. Lion, I'll have to ask you not to raise your voice.
Yes, Miss Wilson. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Lion.
Yes.
Sitting here all day, wasting your time.
Oh, now, Jeffrey, after all, a man has to do something.
Sure, Fatso. You keep an eye on those nurses' bills. I'm going in to see our client. Miss Smith was lying there, pale face made paler by the whiteness of the sheets, the white hospital walls, the clinical smell of the room. You don't have to be sick to look sick in a hospital bed.
Oh. Hello, Mr. Regan.
You remember me?
You helped me, Mr. Regan. I won't forget that.
What does the doctor say?
Oh, I'll be all right. Really, I will. It's just my mind. I can't think straight.
But you remember about the gun, the 2 bullets missing?
Yes. Yes, I remember about them.
Do you remember anything more?
I don't think so.
About wanting to kill someone?
Oh, Mr. Regan.
You don't remember that part of it?
The doctor says it's shock. Something happened to me. Something I wanted to forget. Made me forget everything.
Murder might do that.
Yes, I suppose it might.
Does the name Parker mean anything to you?
No.
Parker Service, Westwood?
No, Mr. Regan.
How about Sarah Hanson?
No, Mr. Regan, I don't know that name.
Sarah Hanson, a blonde, pretty blonde.
No, I don't remember.
You worked for Parker Service in Westwood. You were in Westwood today. Maybe at a small apartment on
Regan,
Bentley just past
about
Pico. That mean anything to you, Miss Smith?
Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone.
Okay, thanks. Thanks anyway.
Please leave me alone. Mr. Regan, leave me alone.
Somewhere the paths of Sarah Hanson and Miss Smith crossed. Somewhere their lives were woven in and out of each other until it was so mixed up. And it made sense. Simple, quick, easy sense. I left the hospital in a hurry. The cab was there, and I got in, and we drove fast. First for a drugstore and a phone booth, then for Westwood.
Look, Mac, now that we're here, what are we doing here?
Visiting Joe.
Yeah, don't sound friendly somehow.
You sit tight. I'm going in.
Look, that house is dark. Nobody's home, Mac.
Maybe, maybe not. If I'm not out in 10 minutes, get to a phone and call the police. You got that?
Yeah. Call the cops.
It was 50 feet back from the street. Not a mansion, not a little house. Grounds well kept, lawn neat and trimmed. I moved slowly up the walk toward the front door. The fog had settled on Westwood Village, and the soft dampness sifted under your clothes, made your skin turn cold. Up ahead, the dark house, waiting. I changed my mind, moved along the side of the house toward the fireplace. That might mean den, and the den might mean proof. Around back, a patio and French doors next to the red brick. Still no sounds from the dark house. I tried the French doors. It was the den. Books, heavy leather chair, and desk. On the desk a photograph, too dark to see. I picked up the metal frame and lit a match. It fit. The final nail in a murderer's coffin.
You like the photograph? Get your hands off your gun, Mr. Regan. That's better. Only one of us needs a gun just now.
Just you, Parker.
The photograph is almost a perfect likeness, isn't it? Beautiful woman.
But not beautiful enough for you, was that it?
Beautiful but possessive. She didn't understand me.
And Sarah Hansen did.
Jane killed her.
So that's her name, Jane Parker.
Too bad you've never met her, Mr. Regan.
I've met her, Parker. In fact, I just left her less than 30 minutes ago.
It's a lie. You've never met my...
Your wife, Jane Parker. She asked for help.
Regan, you're lying.
You tell me a better story. Where is your wife?
I don't know.
But you'd like to, wouldn't you? You'd like to know so you could see her once more, so you could see her and shut her up.
She told you.
That you killed Sarah Hansen?
She was lying. She killed Sarah. There was a fight. Jane killed her in a jealous rage.
And you're going to try to tell me Jane carried Sarah Hansen to her car, then took her to the beach, and then threw her body in the...
I left. I don't know what happened. It was Jane.
Jane carried a woman her size down to the ocean. Who do you think you can make believe that?
You're lying.
I'll tell you what really happened. Jane found out you were running around with another woman, Sarah Hansen. She phoned Sarah, tried to reason with her. Your wife was dumb enough to want to keep you. When Sarah wouldn't listen to reason, your wife went to see her.
You don't know what you're talking about.
She found you at Sarah Hansen's apartment on Bentley. There was a fight. You lost your temper, Parker. Only a man your size could have wrecked the place the way it is now.
No.
You shot and killed Sarah, and the shock was too much for your wife.
No.
Her mind went completely blank, rather than remember the nightmare she'd seen.
How do you know?
How? Because I know where your wife, Jane Parker, is right now.
She didn't tell you that. She wouldn't dare tell you.
Your wife disappeared after the shooting early this morning, didn't she, Parker? You didn't know where she'd gone. That's what you really wanted to find out from me when I was at your shop this afternoon.
You're making that up.
You were afraid then, and you're afraid now. Yet you didn't report to the police that your wife was missing. I checked that. You didn't want them to find her either. She could tell the real story.
Where is Jane, Mr. Regan?
You're wasting time.
Unless you tell me where my wife is, Mr. Regan, I'll put every bullet in this gun through your body.
And that still wouldn't stop your wife from talking, would it, Parker? That still wouldn't give you the answer to where she is now.
Tell me, Regan?
Go ahead. Shoot, Parker. Shoot and read the morning papers tomorrow. The headlines will tell how every cop on the West Coast is waiting to shoot you on sight.
Regan?
So you won't need that gun.
Let go!
You pulled the trigger on yourself, Parker. Too bad your aim wasn't better.
Dr. Dana. Dr. Stephen Dana.
$16 a day for room. Your private nurse.
Hiya, Fatso.
No, don't bother me, Jeffrey. I'm very busy. Your room at $16 a day.
How's our client, Lyons? She doing okay?
$16 a day. Yeah, what's that, Jeffrey?
Miss Smith, our client.
Oh, you mean Jane Parker. Oh, why didn't you say so, Jeffrey? She's much better. The doctor says it'll take time, though. Let me see now. If you take 16...
He thinks you'll get her memory back, Lyons.
What? Oh, yes. He thinks it's just a matter of time. Mental block, that sort of thing. Very complicated, you understand. Oh, hey, Jeffrey, it's been a long day. You must be tired.
I am a little. Come on, Fatso, I'll drive you home.
Me? Go home? No, you just run on, Jeffrey. I really couldn't leave just yet. You see, I've got it figured so the city will have to pay part of the hospital.
You can figure that out at home, Fatso. You look tired.
Well, no. You see, Jeffrey, I'd better stay right here where I can get the cost firsthand. That way I'll have it accurate when I charge the city. You know me, Jeffrey. Business before pleasure.
Oh, yes, business before pleasure.
Yes, I'm not satisfied until I've completely finished the case. You look peaked, boy. You run along, get some sleep. Me, well, I'll just sit here and work. Finish my job.
I'm all ready, Mr. Lyon, if you are.
Yeah.
The night supervisor said it would be all right if I left early.
Yeah.
Isn't that just grand?
Well, good night, Jeffrey.
Good night, Fatso.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, was written tonight by William Frug, produced and directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Paul Dubov as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard each week at the same time over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 2 masked gunmen have held up a bank in your city. The victims can't give you a lead to their identity. Your job, find them. Today, friends, you hear these 3 words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. Best for you, because Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine. The taste you want, the mildness you want. Chesterfield is best for you because it's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield is best for you because it has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the street, and it was 8:47 a.m. when I got to the rear of the bank, the manager's office.
I'm not a young woman anymore. I can't take this kind of excitement.
Yes, ma'am. You checked with them? Yeah. They got the broadcast out right away. Long shot if it pays off. Yeah. Not much of a description.
Well, I hope you're not saying that for my benefit, young man. I gave you all I could. It was hard to see their faces with those scarves on. Maybe you could have done better, but I couldn't.
We're not trying to say that you didn't do good, ma'am. We understand the handicap that you were under.
I should hope so. Terrible thing. I'm not a young woman anymore.
Yes, ma'am. Now, would you tell us just exactly what happened now, right from the beginning?
You mean starting when I come in this morning?
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
8 o'clock, just like always. That's when I got here.
Uh-huh.
Opened the door with my key and came right on in, little suspecting what was waiting for me. I tell you, I was pretty surprised when they popped out at me.
You didn't see them at first, then, huh?
Of course not. You think I would have come in if I'd have seen them?
No, ma'am.
Certainly not. Never would have come in.
When did you first see the 2 men?
I came in and locked the door behind me. Rules say you gotta lock the door. I did, and then I went back to the clothes closet to hang up my coat and umbrella.
I see. Go ahead.
Kind of silly, I guess, carrying an umbrella on a day like this, but I always do. Never know.
Yes, ma'am.
People always kind of smirk at me for carrying one, but whenever it rains out of a clear sky, they don't smirk then. I'm always the center of a crowd, you just bet you.
Yes, ma'am. Would you go ahead with what happened, please?
Well, I hung up my umbrella and my coat, and then I came out the main part of the bank, right out where those 2 assassins were.
And that's when you saw them, is that right?
Oh, no, they were cagey. They waited until I was away from the alarm system. They were real sly.
I see. Go ahead.
I walked out the tables. You know where the deposit slips are out in the center?
Yes, ma'am.
Out there.
Mm-hmm.
I walked out straight and up. Really isn't my job, but I didn't have anything else to do, so I thought I'd maybe just check and see if any of the points needed new nibs. I like a neat place. You know, all the slips in the right place, blotters all clean and new. Neat.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. When did you see the thieves?
As I was straightening up the counter. That's when they stepped out in the open.
Where were they, ma'am?
Over in the escrow department, hiding behind the desks, I guess. That's the direction they came from.
I see. Now, what'd they say to you?
The big one. He looked at me with his steely eyes and told me to be quiet and nothing would happen. Said to be just quiet. I'm not young anymore, Sergeant. A thing like that can be a tremendous shock.
Yes, ma'am. Were both of the men together at that time?
I don't understand.
Well, did they both come out from behind the counter?
Oh, yes. The big one had a machine gun, and the other, the little scrawny one, had a pistol.
Now, you're positive the big one had a machine gun?
Listen, young man, I've seen enough movies and television to know a machine gun when I see it. Don't you think I don't?
Now, about the pistol, was it a revolver or an automatic?
What?
Well, look here. Did it look like this gun of mine?
No, it wasn't like that. It was more the kind you see in movies. More mean-looking than that. Real mean-looking, kind of flat-like.
I see. It was an automatic then, huh?
Well, I don't know what it was, but it was real mean. And furthermore, I wouldn't be surprised if there were real bullets in it. Not in the least.
All right. Now, after they came out from behind the counter, what happened?
They asked me what time the rest of the staff came in.
Mm-hmm.
I told them, any time. That seemed to make them happy.
Why you say that?
Because one of them, the big one, turned to the little runt and said, just like clockwork. That's what he said. Just like clockwork. I'm going to tell you something. Sort of a clue.
Yes, ma'am. What's that?
These fellas been planning this a long time. They knew all about how the bank works. What time everybody comes in and all. They even knew about the keys.
What keys?
The ones to the bank door. They knew who had them.
Uh-huh.
First thing they wanted to know after they asked about the staff was where my key was.
You have a key to the vault?
No, not to the vault itself. Just to the doors in front of it. You know the barred doors in front of the vault door?
Yes, ma'am.
To those.
Uh-huh. Did you give the men your key?
I didn't have much to say about it. I told you, I think they might have had real bullets in those guns, and I wasn't about to make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
After all, I pay my taxes. Catching those fellas is your job, not mine. If you want to cash a check, I can take care of you. But I'm not about to go out and apprehend no thieves.
Yes, ma'am. What happened then?
You mean after I gave them the key?
That's right, yes.
They made me get off to one side of the front doors and wait for the rest of the staff. As they'd come in, the hold-up men would make them get into the closet in the rear of the bank, where I hung my umbrella.
Yes, ma'am. But they let you stay outside, did they?
Oh, yes, they had me right up in front, with those guns pointed at me every second. Every second. I guess they wanted me to act as kind of a decoy.
Ma'am?
Well, when the other people who work in the bank came up to the door, they could look inside and see me standing there. That way, I guess they thought there wasn't anything wrong. Came right in, like lambs to the slaughter. Next thing they knew, there was a gun in their ribs and they was locked up in the closet.
Mm-hmm. What time did the manager come in?
Poor Mr. Blanton. He's not well, you know. He's not well at all.
Yes, ma'am. We saw him out front.
Is he all right? He had an awful attack. Bad heart.
Well, they've taken him to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital.
Did they find his pills?
What's that?
His pills. Mr. Blanton had a special kind of pills he takes when he has an attack. Some kind of explosive. Always has them with him. Did the men find him?
Well, I guess they did, or else they had the necessary medication with him. He's going to be all right. Just needs some rest.
I'm glad of that. Sweet man.
Mm-hmm.
Widower.
What happened when he came in?
Mr. Blanton?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he was just about pulled right in off the streets. He just got his key in the door, and they practically just yanked him right in. Right away wanted his key to the vault door. You have to have both of them in order to open it. Both of them have to be turned at the same time.
I see.
They asked him for his key. At first, he didn't want to give it to him. Told him to get out of his bank and to stop the foolishness. Just like that, he told him. I thought they were going to shoot him, but they didn't. I think if it hadn't been for the big one, they would have. The scrawny one wanted to kill Mr. Blanton right in cold blood.
Uh-huh.
But the big one stopped him. Said to just get on with the job and get out of there. That's what he said, to get out of there. That's when Mr. Blanton passed out, cold, right on the floor. Attack.
You want to go ahead?
Well, I guess they just about had a fight between themselves over that.
Oh, how do you mean?
The big one really read the runt off. Told him he was stupid for making poor Mr. Blanton pass out. Said that now they'd have to wait for the combination of the safe. But I stopped that.
How's that?
I gave him the combination.
You told him how to open the safe, did you?
Certainly. With poor Mr. Blanton laying there on the floor, all I could think about was them getting out of there. That's all that was important.
That's when they opened the safe, didn't they?
Yeah. Went right over to Mr. Blanton and got his key out of his pocket and unlocked the door. By then, the lock had switched off, and they just opened up the vault and went in. Cleaned it right out. Just scooped up the money and put it in a black bag and left. First off, of course, they locked me up in the closet with the others, and then they left.
Now, who turned in the alarm?
I guess it was Mr. Blanton. He was laying on the floor where he'd fell. I guess he came to enough to get to the alarm system and turned it on. Must have been him. Wasn't anybody else who could have done it.
Mm-hmm. During the time the men were in the bank, did you hear them use any names?
I don't think I understand what you mean.
Well, do they call each other by name at any time?
Not that I heard. Is it important?
Well, it'd help.
I didn't hear him use any, but if worse comes to worse, I can do something about it.
Yes, ma'am.
I've got a couple for him.
We obtained a complete description of the hold-up pair, and a supplemental broadcast was put out. The crime lab crew came out to the scene and went over the premises for physical evidence. From their investigation, we found that the bandits had made their entrance through a rear window. They'd sawed through the steel bars and broken the glass. From there, they'd come in and apparently had waited for the employees to arrive. We'd ascertained from the cashier that both men had worn gloves, so there was no chance of getting any fingerprints. In the dirt on the alley pavement, Lee Jones was able to find several good impressions of footprints. These were photographed and booked as evidence. Because of their placement, it was more than likely that they belonged to the thieves. Also in the alley, he found several broken hacksaw blades. These were booked, their numbers noted, and a request sent to the manufacturer for the name of the store that had sold them. The other employees of the bank were questioned, and they verified the story and the description that we'd gotten from the cashier. The staff's office started a run on the M.O. used, and the victims were taken downtown and asked to go through the mug books. They were not able to give us an identification of the thieves. That afternoon at 3:47 p.m., Frank and I met back in the squad room.
Hi. How'd the stats office do?
Well, I got the list right here, 18 possibles.
Yeah. Any of them look good?
Couple. Skipper around?
No. We went over to the inspector's office. Anything special?
Well, I wanted to check with him on who's going to work with us on this thing.
We left word. Murph and Gaffney are with us. We can use Pinky and Stromwell if we need them.
Is Murph around?
No, I went down to R&I. He had a hunch this might tie in with a heist they worked on last month. Same M.O. Figured he might as well check it out.
Well, as soon as he gets back, maybe he'll give us a hand with this list, huh?
Yeah.
How about the bank manager? Any word there?
I called Georgia Street, talked with Dr. Sebastian. He said Blanton has been released to his own doctor.
What kind of conditions is he in?
Should be able to talk to him tonight. Guess it was a pretty bad attack. Sebastian said he was in rough shape.
Well, let's check out. We can tag Murph in the hall. Is Gaffney with him?
He was.
All right, let's go. You want to sign us out?
Yeah.
I got it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, he's here. Just a minute. For you, Frank.
Okay. You want to take care of the book?
Yeah.
Who is it?
He didn't say. Just want to talk to you.
Oh. Smith speaking. Yeah, that's right. Huh? Yeah, sure we can. Yes, sir, we can right away. Mm-hmm. You want to give me that address? Uh-huh. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. I have it. Yeah, right away. Goodbye. It's Blanton's doctor.
Yeah.
Says he wants to see us right away.
Yeah, what about?
Well, Blanton says he remembers that when the thieves left the bank, a customer came up to the door.
Yeah.
He heard the big one tell the other one to take off his mask.
Uh-huh.
The customer got a good look at both of them.
We left the office immediately and drove over to the bank manager's home. We talked with his doctor, and we obtained permission to ask a few questions. Blanton told us that as the two thieves had left the bank, a woman passerby had noticed the bank manager's key still in the front door lock. She'd stopped and knocked at the door to notify someone in the bank about the keys. As she did, the two hold-up men had taken off their masks and passed directly in front of her. We asked Blanton if he knew the woman, but he said that he'd never seen her before. We asked if it was possible that she might be a customer of his bank. He said it was possible that he'd just never seen her before. He gave us her description, and we started to check with the bank employees in the hopes that one of them could identify her. None of them could. We got out a supplemental bulletin asking that the woman be picked up. In the meantime, Officers Murphy and Rafferty had checked out the list of possibles that the stats office had come up with. All of the names on the list either had alibis or could establish that they were not near the bank when it was robbed. We checked all FI cards filed in the area without result. Frank and I checked out of the office at 12:18 a.m. and went home to get some sleep. The next day, Wednesday, June 3rd, Frank was waiting for me when I got to work.
Don't sit down. We got a call to make.
Yeah?
Marie Logan called. You remember the rental car agent out in the valley?
Oh, yeah. She gave us a hand on the identity of that young fellow that knocked over the liquor store out at Tilden and Ethel, wasn't it?
That's the one.
Well, what she got?
Might be nothing, but we ought to check it out.
Uh-huh.
Says there's a woman who hangs around the local bars mooching drinks. Never got a dime.
Yeah?
She came in to see Marie yesterday afternoon. Wanted to rent a car to drive to New York.
Where do we fit in?
She wanted to pay in advance.
Yeah.
Offered Marie brand new $100 bills.
From the statement we'd gotten from the bank, we knew that in the $34,000 the thieves had taken, there were several $1,000s in $100 bills. Frank and I signed out of the office and drove out to the San Fernando Valley. At the corner of Valley Hart Boulevard and Dickens, we found Marie Logan's rental agency. There was a line of late model cars in front of the lot, and at the rear, we found a small wooden building. Frank knocked at the door, and we waited.
Yeah. Oh, hi, it's you.
Hello, Miss Logan.
Miss Logan?
Hi, Sergeant, Mrs. Smith. Come on in.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Sure hope I haven't brought you guys out here on a wild goose chase. Hope it works out.
All right, you want to fill us in?
This woman name's Betty Gallick. Hangs around the bars in the neighborhood, spends her time cadging drinks. Real bum.
Mm-hmm. Why do you figure we might be interested?
A couple of times she's come in to rent a car just to use around town. First few times I was stuck.
How do you mean?
Checks. She'd pay the deposit with a check. Then when she brought the car back, she'd pay the bill by check.
I see.
Check would bounce. Then when I'd call her, she'd come in and pick it up and give me the cash to cover it. That's the only reason I didn't turn it over to you. She always paid up.
Mm-hmm. Now, this time she had the cash, though.
Yeah. Came in, wanted a new Lincoln to drive to New York. She was dressed like always. Cheap cotton dress, cloth coat, even had the imitation leather purse. Kind of supposed to look like real leather, but as soon as you get inside 10 feet, you know it isn't. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think
that
so.
kind. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, when she asked for the car, I told her I couldn't let her have it, said I'd been stung too many times before. So right off, she said she wanted to pay cash. That's when she opens his crummy purse, and the dough almost fell out. Must have had a couple of $1,000 in there, maybe more.
Well, you said something on the phone about $100 bills.
Yeah. She pulled out a couple of them to show me she could pay cash. I asked her where she got them.
What'd you say to that?
She said it wasn't any of my business. Told me as long as she had the money and a driver's license, I should ought to rent her the car. I thought I ought to check with you first.
Now, you got an address on this Gallic woman?
Yeah. After I called this morning, I checked through the records. Got her home address and the driver's license number.
She got any friends you know of?
Just about on every bar stool where she hung out.
I mean anyone special.
Oh, I don't know. I saw her a couple of times with the same guy in the place down at the corner. Hot days, I sometimes go down there for a beer. Well, I've seen her there with this one guy a couple of times.
You know who he is?
No, not his name. I've seen the two of them drive away together a couple of times. He's got a flashy convertible. Guess he drove it out here.
What do you mean?
The car's got a New York license plate. Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Logan Rental Service. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I know her. Yeah. You sure about that? Sure. Okay. Thanks. Goodbye. That tears it.
What's wrong?
There was a rental agency in Hollywood. Called to ask me about Betty Gallic. Seems she gave me as a reference.
Yeah.
Came into their place and rented the car from them. Paid cash for it.
Was she there now?
No. She left for New York this morning.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
One of the biggest comedy hits of the year. That's how the movie critics are describing Bob Hope's latest Paramount picture, Casanova's Big Night. Like so many other millions of smokers, Bob and Audrey Dalton, who appears with him in the picture, say Chesterfields for me. First, Audrey Dalton.
I changed to Chesterfield King Size because I think it's better than any other King Size cigarette.
Bob Hope says,
5 years. That's how long I've been smoking Chesterfields. And they have what it takes to satisfy me. What's more, I've seen how they make Chesterfields down in their Durham factory. And I wouldn't smoke any other cigarette. Try Chesterfields yourself. You'll find they're best for you, too.
yes, either way, regular or king size, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield.
We contacted the rental agency that had leased the car to Betty Gallic. From them, we got a description of the car and the license number. We put out a local and an all-points bulletin on the vehicle. We got in touch with the New York authorities and asked them to be on the lookout for the car. We got the Gallic woman's address from the rental agency, and we checked out her house. We found nothing to give us any indication as to where she might have gone, but we did find a silk scarf similar to the one described by the victims as having been worn by the hold-up men. We checked with the neighbors, but none of them could tell us where Betty Gallic had gone. 2 days went by while we followed down every lead that turned up. The information from the crime lab was checked out, but it led us nowhere. The serial numbers on the hacksaw blades had come back, but when we talked to the store owner, he was unable to tell us who had bought them. Saturday at 12 noon, a meeting was held in the offices of Thad Brown. Members of the Federal Bureau of Investigation were there. They had agents working on the case, but they hadn't been able to come up with any more information than we'd gotten. 2:14 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office.
The chief was your man.
Well, do you blame him? We haven't got very much.
Well, it seems like every time we do get a lead worth anything, it goes to nothing.
Yeah, well, it's got to end someplace. I got it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We did? No, when? Yeah, right. No, I'll be right down to pick it up. Yeah, thanks. Bye. Those communications. They just got a wire from Chicago.
Yeah?
They picked up the Gallic woman. Betty Gallic had been picked up south of Chicago and held in answer to our communication. However, when she was picked up, she was in the company of 2 other women. They were identified as her sisters. We made arrangements to talk to her by long-distance telephone. As soon as we started to ask her questions regarding the bank robbery, she admitted being the driver of the getaway car. She told us that the theft had been planned by a man she knew only as Dean. She was unable to tell us any more about him. She went on to say that she'd met him in a bar in the valley along with the other 2 men. She identified these 2 men as Richard and Matt. She was unable to give us their last names or tell us any more about them. She did say, however, that Matt was from New York and that as far as she knew, he was there at the time. She went on to say that he was not with the trio when the bank was held up. We questioned her further, but she was unable to give us any additional information on the three men. She did, however, tell us that they had stayed at a motel located on Sepulveda Boulevard. She gave us the name and the approximate location. She was detained pending extradition in Chicago. Saturday evening, Frank and I drove out to the motel that the Gallic woman had mentioned. We rang the bell and waited.
Yeah? Lights on. We got no vacancies.
Police officers, we want to ask you some questions.
What about?
A couple of men who stayed here.
Anybody in this place who's got trouble with the cops has to get out. You tell me who they are, and I'll throw them right at you. I don't want no trouble. Now, who are you looking for?
One of them's tall, the other's short. Named Dean and Richard.
What about the last name?
We haven't got that.
I don't need it. I know who you mean.
Yeah.
Sure, Dean Franklin, Dick Norton, a couple of no goods. They ain't here no more.
You know where they are?
I'm not sure. I think maybe I got an address in my desk. Come on in.
Thank you.
I'm Jim Allison.
Well, this is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
What have the boys done?
Just routine. We want to talk to them.
You won't tell me, huh?
It'll be better if we talk to them about it.
Well, have it your own way. I don't want to get mixed up in anything. Those boys got themselves a bucket of trouble. I want no part of it. While they was here, they paid their rent and didn't cause much trouble. That's all I was interested in, as long as they didn't cause any trouble.
Yes, sir. How long ago did they leave?
I guess it's about a week ago. I got it in the book, so I can check it for you if you want.
Yes, sir. We'd like to have the information.
Sure, I'll get it for you.
They have any visitors while they were here?
A couple of guys come around in the morning. That's about it. They'll look like bill collectors. The boys never let them inside. Used to talk on the porch.
Mm-hmm. The three of them move out at the same time?
No. Matt left a couple of days before. Said he was going back east. I think he had some kind of a job back there. They wasn't real chummy, you know. Kind of kept to themselves.
All right, sir. Would you see if you got that address where they might be?
Oh, sure. Forgot all about it. It's in the desk, I think. Always running into this kind of thing with a motel.
Yes, sir. What's that?
Wrong people renting rooms. We got no way of checking on them. Seems like whenever somebody's got trouble, they pick a motel to have it, and it never ends. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. They left this in case I got any mail for them. Said just to send it on. Here you are.
Thank you.
It's a place out in West Los Angeles.
Thank you very much, sir.
Glad to help out. You can't tell me what this is about, huh?
No, sir. It's police business.
You figure you're going to have any trouble with them?
Well, it's hard to say. It'll depend on how they want it.
Well, if I was you, I'd take it easy picking them up.
Why?
Because I know Franklin's got a gun.
We obtained the license number and a description of the car that the suspects had driven. It was a late model convertible with New York license plates. Before we left the motel, we called R&I and checked the names Dean Franklin and Richard Norton. We found that both of them had long felony records. We talked to Captain Donahoe and had two more teams of men sent out from the office to meet us at the address that we'd gotten from the motel manager. From what we knew of the two men, taking them into custody would be difficult. Frank and I left the motel and drove out to the address in West Los Angeles. It was a one-story wooden building set well back on a weed-filled lot. A late model car was in the driveway. 10 minutes after we got there, Officers Murphy, Rafferty, Meade, and Leitner met us. Murphy had brought two sawed-off shotguns loaded with double-aught buck and several tear gas grenades. The only chance we had of taking the men without bloodshed was to use the one element on our side, surprise. Murphy and Rafferty went around to the street at the back of the house, and Leitner took the other. When all of us were in position, Frank and I prepared to move up to the front door.
You all set?
Just a minute. All right, let's go.
I don't see anything.
Well, they might have seen us. You better take it easy.
All right.
All right, let's make it for the porch.
Yeah.
Come on. You okay?
Yeah.
All right, now I'll take the door. When we get inside, you go to the left, I'll handle the right side.
Right.
You all set?
Yeah.
Now.
How about it?
Nothing. Place is empty. We searched the house, but we found no trace of the suspects. From the clothing in the closets, we figured that they had not moved out. And going over the house, we found a machine gun hidden in one of the bedrooms. The cartridge clip was loaded, and the gun was ready for use. We pulled the clip, called the office, and told them where we were. And then we settled down to wait for the suspects to return. Murphy and Rafferty covered the rear approaches to the house. Meade and Leitner were in cars parked down the street, and Frank and I waited in the front room. At 10:46 p.m., the phone in the house rang 3 times, and then it stopped. We waited for Franklin and Norton to come back. 11 p.m., 11:30. Still no sign of them. Started to get cold in the house. Midnight. 12:30, the phone rang again. 12:45. From down the street, we heard a car approach.
Joe?
Yeah.
You see anything?
Just a minute. Pull that curtain back. Yeah. It's a Ford sedan coming down this way.
Uh-huh.
Pulled into the driveway. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's them.
Just the two of them?
Near as I can tell, yeah. They're getting out of the car.
Yeah. How about Lightner and Meade?
Yeah, I see them. They're starting to get out of the car down there. Better cover the door. They're coming in. Right. Police officer, stand still.
Run, Vic, run!
Get the other one, Frank.
Hold it up. Hey, Lightner, he's coming at you. No, hold it up. We got him, Frank.
All right, Franklin, turn around.
How'd you get to us? Who told you?
Put your hands behind you.
Who told you we were here? Somebody had to tell you. You'd never have got us without somebody tipping you. It was that lush Betty, wasn't it? It was her that told you.
All right, outside. Come on, move.
Had to be her. She was the only one that knew. Had to be her. You'd never have made it without her.
You're wrong.
Huh?
We'd have made it. Come on.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 14th, trial was held in Department 92, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Thousands of smokers all across the country are now changing to Chesterfield. We'd like you to give them a try, too. I know you'll like them because the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want and the mildness you want, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular or king size, Chesterfield.
Dean Roger Franklin, Richard Henry Norton, and Betty Elaine Gellick were tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 5 years to life. Further investigation showed that Matthew Arthur Ross had no part or knowledge of the crime. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Helen Klebe, Georgia Ellis, Vic Perrin. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
Hear Dane Clark in Crime and Peter Chambers following John Cameron Swayze and the news on the NBC Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to juvenile detail. You get a report of drug addiction within a group of teenagers. You don't know if the information is true. Your job, check it out. Meet Peter Lynn Hayes and Mary Healy, America's favorite husband and wife comedy team. They are typical of smokers everywhere who are saying, Chesterfields for me. Mary says,
I've smoked regular-sized Chesterfields for about 7 years. Guess that ought to prove how I feel about Chesterfield's taste and mildness.
Peter says, Chesterfields for me, too.
As far as I'm concerned, King is the only size. And like Mary says, Chesterfield is the only cigarette.
Either way you like them, I'll bet you'll find Chesterfield is best for you.
Yes, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfields for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, February 10th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:01 a.m. when I got to Georgia Street Juvenile. Squad room. Hi, Frank.
Well? Well, what do you think?
About what?
Ruth, what do you think?
Well, she's nice, sure.
Was that all you got to say?
Well, what do you want me to say?
Well, did you like her?
She's a nice girl, yeah.
You got another date with her?
No, I told her I'd call her sometime.
You said you'd call her, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say when?
No, I just said sometime.
Sometime. Well, Faye's not going to like it.
Why?
She's just not, Joe. She's not sure we had it this time.
Well, look, Frank, I think it's real nice of you and Faye to be concerned. I don't think that I don't appreciate it, but when you asked me over last night, I figured we were just going to have dinner and sit around and talk. I didn't know anything about this girl going to be there. Don't you think you should have told me? Let me know.
Joe, you like girls, don't you?
Well, of course I like girls.
Well, we couldn't have done that, you know. We'd have loused the whole thing up if we told you ahead of time. We just wanted you to meet her. Get the full effect. Bang, like that.
Yeah, I got the full effect.
Well, we tried to set it all up for you. She is pretty, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess so.
Blue eyes, red hair. I think she's real pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Faye and me had the whole evening planned, right from the time you two met.
I kind of got that idea.
What do you mean?
Well, you're about as subtle as a water buffalo.
Now, you tell me where we were obvious. Go ahead, tell me.
Well, all right. First off, the music. That album of records of yours there. What's it called? Love Music or whatever it was?
Mood for Lovers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I bought them special.
Yeah. And the flowers on the table?
Well, you got to have flowers. You got to have something for the center of the table.
You must have gone a long way for those. Orange blossoms, you had to have those. Huh?
Well, Faye's not going to like it.
Well, I'm very sorry about that, Frank.
Oh, we're just trying to show you the advantages of getting married.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you and Faye trying, but let me do it my way, huh? Any mail this morning?
Huh?
Any mail?
Yeah, Skipper put a note in your box.
Okay. Tickets for the police show.
You got to sell tickets, huh?
Yeah, so do you. Here's your book.
You're not mad, are you, Joe?
Oh, man, it's just that all the time people are trying to be helpful, you know.
Well, I kind of hate to say it behind her back. I say I hate to say it behind her back, but it was Faye's idea. I didn't have any part in it.
Yeah.
Faye's idea.
Faye's idea.
You're sure you're not sore, huh?
No, I told you, man.
Sure?
I'm sure, Frank, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ruth.
What?
Look, it wasn't the fact that she was a redhead, was it?
Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, Skipper says to run this down. Thanks, Ed.
What do you got?
Take a look at this.
Huh? Dear sir, I have some information for you about a big dope ring. It's important I talk to you. I'll meet you at the streetcar stop at 7th and Broadway on the east side after 3:45 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday. That's today, huh?
Yeah. Read the rest of it.
I can't tell you my name now, but I'll be wearing a green skirt and a plaid sweater. I'll be standing right by the streetcar stop.
What do you think?
I don't know. No signature. You got anything in the envelope?
No. It's postmarked L.A., addressed to Juvenile Division. No way of telling where it came from.
Think it's from a crank?
Well, there's one place we can find out.
Yeah.
7th and Broadway. The fact that the note had been addressed to Juvenile Division instead of Narcotics Detail indicated that the person who wrote it had some knowledge of the workings of the police department. It also led us to believe that the writer was a juvenile. We checked again with Captain Powers on the letter, and it was decided that we'd make the meet that afternoon. Frank and I spent the rest of the morning going over reports on a case that we just finished, and at 3:15 p.m. we left the office. Frank stopped the car at 8th and Broadway for a traffic signal, and I got out and walked the remaining block. There was no one at the streetcar stop dressed in a green skirt and a plaid sweater. While Frank circled the block, I waited. 3:40 p.m., still no sign. At 3:52, a woman of about 23 got off a streetcar and waited on the corner. She was wearing a dark green suit with a plaid blouse. I waited for some indication that she might be the person we were waiting for, but she gave none. Finally, she turned, walked across the street, and disappeared into the crowd. 4 o'clock, 4:15, still no sign of the letter writer. 4:30, 4:45. Frank pulled into a loading zone near the corner, and I went over to talk to him.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. She's an hour late now.
Uh-huh. Well, that note must have been from a crank.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, come on, get in. We better go back to the office.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute, Joe.
What?
Right there, crossing the street.
Oh, yeah. Matches the description.
Must be her.
Well, she's looking this way. I'll check it. She looked about 15. Brown hair and a thin, young face. She was carrying an armful of school books. She paused in the corner and watched me. I walked up to her and told her I was a police officer. She nodded and then walked out to the safety zone and climbed onto a waiting streetcar. I followed her. She walked to the back of the car and took a seat. I sat down next to her. I could see Frank following us in our car. We rode 3 blocks before she spoke.
I'm sorry I was late.
It's all right.
I usually try to be on time, maybe even a little early. That's the way it should be, don't you think?
Well, what was it you wanted to talk about, miss?
I got hung up at school, couldn't get away when I thought I would.
Yeah.
That's the reason I'm late.
Well, you said something in the note about a narcotics ring.
How much am I going to get involved in this?
What do you mean?
How deep am I going to get? I don't want any trouble myself. We're doing this to help somebody. But I don't want to get mixed up in it myself.
Well, maybe you better tell me what it's all about first, huh? We can decide the rest of it later.
That's the way it has to be?
Well, you called us, remember?
Yeah, I guess so.
What's your name?
Edna.
Your last name?
Well, that isn't going to help any. You don't need it.
How old are you?
15.
All right, what about this dope ring?
I want to tell you about it. A friend of mine is in pretty deep. I think she's hooked bad. I want to help her.
What's your friend's name?
You have to have that?
Well, we're not going to be able to do very much without it, are we?
Catherine. I can't give you her last name. I can't.
How old is she?
15.
All right, now what makes you think she's using narcotics?
I just know, that's all.
Well, that's a pretty serious charge. You must have some reason for saying it.
I've got a reason. I've got good reasons. You think I'd go to the cops if I didn't have? You think that?
What kind of narcotics do you think she's using?
Heroin.
You know that for sure, do you?
Yeah, I've seen her take a fix.
Where?
Hmm?
Where'd she take the fix?
I've seen her do it in her room at home. Place near school up at Lewis Apartments.
Lewis?
Lewis Conklin. He got Catherine hooked. He's the one I want to see you get.
How old's he?
Oh, I don't know. I think around 20, 21.
Where'd you meet him?
Down at Balboa last summer. Catherine and me went down for a week. We met them then, Lewis and Vince.
You know this Vince's last name?
I think it's Beal.
B-E-A-L?
I guess so.
Now, these 2 boys, are they supplying Catherine with the heroin?
Yeah, they got it for her.
How'd you happen to meet them?
First day we were down at Balboa, we went down to the beach. We saw them then. We didn't talk to them right off, not the first day.
Uh-huh.
The next day, they came over to where we were and laid down on the beach. They had a portable radio, and they were playing it loud. They were playing it real loud.
Yeah.
Well, Lewis asked us if they had the radio on too loud, and we said no. Then we got to talking.
All right, go ahead.
We found out that they knew a lot of the kids that go to our school, so we talked about them. We talked and listened to the radio.
Mm-hmm. Were either your or Catherine's parents with you?
No. Catherine's father's got a friend who lives at Balboa all the time. We were staying with her.
All right, go ahead.
After we knew him a week, one night they suggested that we go for a ride down the coast toward San Diego.
Yeah.
They'd never given us any trouble, so Catherine and me talked it over and decided to go. They'd never gotten fresh or anything, so we thought it'd be all right.
Mm-hmm.
We drove down the beach, and then we stopped. Boys had some beer in the car, and we drank some of it, just a little. We didn't think it would hurt, just a little.
All right.
I guess we drank more than we thought, because we both got a little drunk. First time I ever got drunk. All I wanted to do was go home and go to sleep. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't feel good. I remember that. I didn't feel good.
Go ahead.
I got out of the car, and I walked around for a while. After I walked, I felt better, and I went back to the car. Catherine and the two boys were smoking. I could smell it when I got in the car. Real sweet. Sickening.
Marijuana?
Yeah. Vince asked me if I wanted some. I told him I didn't, and they all laughed again. Said I was just a little kid, called me chicken. So I did.
You smoked the marijuana, did you?
Yeah, but not very much. Got sick again, and I threw the stick away. That made Vince sore because I hadn't smoked very much. He got out of the car and found what was left of the cigarette and put it in a box he had. Then he got in the car, and the three of them all drank some more of the beer and smoked the rest of the marijuana. They were all laughing and yelling.
Catherine was smoking, too?
Yes, she was having a great time, laughing it up. Seemed like everything that happened was just about the funniest thing she ever heard. They were all laughing and telling me what a square I was. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. So I said if they wouldn't take me home, I'd walk.
And what'd they say to that?
Told me to go ahead. Said I was a drag anyway, and they'd be glad to get rid of me.
And you left then?
Yeah. I tried to get Catherine to go with me. She said she was having too good a time and she wasn't leaving. She told me to go home and to expect her when she walked in.
Yeah.
So I left. Got out of the car and walked up the highway. Was going to catch a ride back to town. Pretty scared, but I wanted to get back. I didn't feel very good.
Mm-hmm.
I waited for the car, but the ones that went by wouldn't stop. Then Vince and Louis and Catherine came by. They told me to get into the car, and we drove home. I had to wait out in front with Catherine until she sobered up. She said she was too drunk to go into the house.
What time did you get home?
Oh, it must have been 3 or 3:30.
Mm-hmm. Did you see Vince and Louis again?
Well, I didn't, but Catherine did. Every night we were there, she went out with them. I didn't want to have anything more to do with them. She told me if I said anything to the people we were staying with, she'd cause me a lot of trouble. I like Catherine. She's my best friend. I didn't want to see her get into any trouble. I thought when we left Balboa, she'd quit seeing the fellas. That's what I thought. She'd stop seeing them.
Did she?
No. When school started again, she was still going with Louis. I'd see her around the school, but she wouldn't have anything to do with me. Said I was a cube. Talking all the time about how she didn't know they grew corners like me anymore.
How'd you find out she was on heroin?
One day I saw her take a pop. She was at her house, and I came over to talk to her. She was pretty sick, and she went into her room. I went in after her to see if I could help, and I saw her taking a fix. After that, I didn't see much of her. I guess she didn't want me around, knowing she was hooked.
When was all this?
About 2 months ago. I've seen her a couple of times since. She looks real bad.
Her parents know anything about the narcotics?
I don't know. There's just her father. I don't think he cares much. If he does, he's not doing anything about it. I'm just telling you all this so you'll get Louis and Vince. They're the ones who started her. They're seeing that she gets the H.
You know where we can find them?
Yeah. Louis has a little apartment over in the Westlake area.
You know the address?
No, but I can show you where it is.
All right.
I just want to see you get them. Get them good.
Mm-hmm.
She was my best friend. Now she won't have anything to do with me. Nothing.
Well, maybe we can straighten it out.
What do you want to do now?
Well, first we better get off this streetcar. End of the line. Ed and I got off the streetcar and Frank picked us up. We stopped at a drugstore and put in a call to the office requesting that a policewoman be sent out to take the girl into custody. 10 minutes later, Officer Irene Gardner arrived, and the four of us drove over to the Westlake area. The young girl pointed out the building where she told us that Vince Beale and Louis Conklin lived. She gave us a description of the two suspects, and finally, after Miss Gardner had talked to her, she also gave us the full name of her friend, Catherine Pilgrim. We checked at the building and found that the two suspects occupied apartment 4G. Frank and I talked to the manager of the place, but she told us that the pair weren't in and that she didn't know when they'd be back. We returned to the car and told Officer Gardner to take Ed into Georgia Street Juvenile and hold her until we could get there. After that, Frank called the office and ran the names Vincent Beale and Louis Conklin through R&I. They both had misdemeanor records in California, and Beale had served time in the county jail for possession of narcotics. We called Captain Powers and told him what had happened, and then we returned to the apartment and set up a surveillance. At 7:25 p.m., we heard someone coming down the hall.
Don't worry about a thing, honey. It's all going to be all right.
I'm sick, Vince. Real sick.
I know. I'll make a call, get you fixed up. Just calm
All
down.
right, hold it right there, police officers.
Hey, what are you doing in here? You got no right to break in like this. What's this all about?
I gotta go, Vince. I got it.
Hold it up, Miss Pilgrim.
How do you know who I am? What are you gonna do?
Don't say anything, Kathy. Don't tell him nothing.
Turn around, Bill.
What for? What are you shoving me around?
Turn around.
Here, turn around. I'll take him, Joe.
Stand
You
still.
won't find nothing, cop. I'm clean.
Call it nothing. Where's Conklin?
You got it figured so good, you'd tell me.
You better watch that mouth, kid. It's going to get you into trouble.
You tell me all about it, cop. I got no problem. What are you taking us in on? What's the charge?
Violation of the Narcotics Act and contributing.
Yeah? You didn't find anything on me. You didn't find anything in the pad. You've been on the spike, cop, and you know it. Now, why don't you run along, and I'll forget all about you being
All right, let's go.
Where are you taking me?
Downtown.
To jail?
Juvenile hall.
You gonna call my father?
That's right.
Well, he won't tell you anything. He won't tell you a word.
Keep your mouth shut.
Why? I got nothing to hide. I'm not a hype. You ask my father.
Let me see your arms, Bill.
Huh?
Your sleeves. Roll them up. Come on, quick.
Here.
Where'd you get those marks?
You tell me.
Let me see your arms, Miss Pilgrim.
It's not gonna prove anything. Not a
Let
thing.
me see them.
Go ahead, honey. If you don't go along with them, they bring out the rubber hose.
Somebody messed with you a long time ago.
Yeah.
Come on, Miss Pilgrim. Let me see your arms.
Well, all right, here.
How about it, Joe?
Take a look.
Yeah.
Fresh needle marks. We called Narcotics Division and asked them to come out and go over the room in an attempt to find a trace of narcotics. We put in a call to the office, and Irene Gardner came out and took the Pilgrim girl into custody. The stakeout was set up on the apartment to apprehend the other suspect, Louis Conklin. Frank and I took Vince Beale to the office and questioned him for over an hour, but he failed to come up with his source of supply for the heroin. He was turned over to officers from Narcotics Detail and booked in at the main jail on suspicion of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony. A call had been put into the father of Catherine Pilgrim, and at 9:37 p.m. he arrived at the office.
Friday and Smith, where are you?
My name's Friday. What can I do for you?
I'm Robert Pilgrim. I want my daughter.
She's downstairs right now. Our doctor's taking care of her.
What for?
Well, she's pretty sick, Mr. Pilgrim.
Sick. What's the matter? You've got no right to give her any kind of medication without my approval.
We couldn't reach you.
How hard did you try?
We called your home and your place of business. We got no answer. Our doctor thought it was best to give the girl something right away.
What's wrong with her? What are you doing to her?
Your daughter's a narcotic addict, Mr. Pilgrim.
That is a lie. Now, you get her up here right now. You hear me? You get on that phone and have her brought to this office right now. I'm taking her home.
Afraid we can't do that.
Who are you to tell me what's going to happen? I pay your salary, officer. Don't forget it. If you don't get on that phone and have my daughter brought up here right now, I'll make some calls and you'll be pounding the beat out in the Toolies. I've got a lot of friends in this town.
And you've got a daughter who's hooked bad.
Has she told you that?
No, sir. But all the tests point that way. She's got needle marks all up and down her arm.
Well, you better get out and find a lawyer fast because I'm going to pull that tin badge right off you.
Is that so?
You bet it is. How do I get a line?
Dial 9.
Hello, Jack. This is Bob Pilgrim. I'm down at the police station. Yeah, Kathy's here. The cop says she's a hophead. I want you to tell her. Here, you talk to him.
Yes, sir. Who am I speaking with? Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we did find hypodermic marks. I see. All right, sir. We'll be checking with you.
Now you'll get my daughter?
I'll have her sent right up. You want to come out in the hall, Frank?
Yeah.
Who'd he call? It's their family doctor. We might not have a case here.
What's the matter?
Well, the doctor says he's been treating the girl for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
Been giving her hypodermic injections.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Tobacco has been one of man's basic pleasures for over 400 years. And the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. And when I say that, I mean Chesterfield Regular, I mean Chesterfield King Size. Remember, this is the cigarette that's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. The cigarette that gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine, the taste you want, the mildness you want. The cigarette that has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. So join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Regular or king size. Always say, Chesterfields for me.
With the doctor's statement, there was nothing we could do but release the girl to her father pending further investigation. The parents of the teenager who had written us the first letter came to the office, and she was released to them. At 11:40 p.m. that night, we got word that the other suspect had returned to the apartment and had been taken into custody. He was identified as Louis Conklin, age 23. He was taken to the main jail and booked on the same charges as Vincent Beale. Their apartment was gone over, but no trace of narcotics was found. We questioned both suspects again, but they failed to cooperate with us. Frank and I checked out of the office and went home. The following morning, we drove out to see the doctor who had told me he was treating the Pilgrim girl. He said the girl was underweight and highly nervous and that he had been giving her vitamin injections. He went on to say that he'd stopped treating her 5 months previous at her father's request and that he had not seen the girl since then. February 11th, 10:24 a.m. We checked the car belonging to Vincent Beale. In the trunk, we found an expensive leather jacket. It looked too expensive to be worn by a man who had the reputation of never holding a job. We took the jacket over to the crime lab and had it checked. From a cleaning tag, we got the name of the cleaner who'd serviced the jacket. We contacted him, and he remembered the jacket as having been among several stolen from his store. With this information, we went back to the main jail and had the Conklin boy brought from his cell. He told us that the jacket belonged to Vincent Beale. He was brought into the interview room.
This leather jacket belong to you, Vince?
No, I never saw it before.
Conklin says it's yours.
I don't know. Maybe it is. What difference does it make?
Take a look. We want to know.
Yeah, it's mine.
Where'd you get it?
Where do you think I bought it? You know someplace you can get these without buying them?
Yeah, the same place you picked this one up.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
You know a man named Ted Hartman?
Who?
Ted Hartman.
Ted Hartman. Never heard of him.
He knows you.
Maybe he's got a better memory than me.
Says you used to work for him.
Is that right?
Yeah. Now, how about it?
Maybe I did. I had a lot of jobs.
The cleaner says you worked for him a couple of weeks last December.
That's a long time ago.
Says this jacket was stolen from him.
Well, where do I fit?
He thinks you stole it.
He's crazy.
He's sure enough to make a complaint.
They'll laugh him out of court.
Conklin says it's yours.
I told you I bought it.
Conklin wants no part of a burglary rap.
What'd Conklin tell you?
Maybe we ought to get your side of it, huh?
What'd he tell you? I got a right to know. Look, he's going to make a beef like that on me. I got a right to know what he said.
He wants no part of it. He lays it all on you.
He's no good. I never figured for a guy I could trust. He did all right on the deal. Lou kept us both going.
What do you mean?
I thought he told you all about it.
Yeah, well, we want to hear it from you. A lot of times stories get all mixed up. Now we want to get it right.
Yeah, we knocked the place, but it was both of us. Lou was in on it all the way.
Go ahead.
We were scratching for H. We had it real bad. We needed some way out. I thought about the cleaning place. Figured we could score good. Well, we did all right. Took care of three of us for a long time.
You, Conklin, and the Pilgrim girl, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
What were you shooting?
Me and Lou kept it down. The Pilgrim kid, she built up fast. She was juicing 5 caps a day. I should have listened to Lou. He kept telling me to drop her, leave her alone.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything between us. It was just for laughs. And then all of a sudden she was hooked bad. We had to do something. We stole her jacket so we could keep her supplied. 5 caps a day. You know, that's a lot of H. I tried to break her down. I tried to cut her habit. I did what I could. You can see that, can't you? I did everything I could.
How much was that? 5:23 p.m. Frank and I, along with policewoman Irene Gardner, drove out to the Pilgrim residence. We went up to the front porch and rang the bell.
Yeah. What do you want?
I'd like to see your daughter.
Now, you get out of here. You get out of here right now. I've had enough of this shoving around from you. It's about time you learned your place.
It might be better if we came in.
Anything you've got to say to me, you can say here. I don't want any cops in my house.
You want to get your daughter?
What for?
We're going to have to take her down to juvenile hall.
You guys just don't give up, do you? You want me to call my doctor again?
We talked to him this afternoon.
And you know the story. Now get out of here.
You want to get your daughter?
Look, I've got a gun inside. If you're still here when I come back, I'm going to
Now, you listen to me, mister. You've been acting like a big man long enough. You can play the part of the outraged parent with your family, but don't try it with us.
I'm not going to have you talk to me like that.
Not much you can do about it. We got the boys been supplying your daughter with narcotics. It's pretty clear that this home isn't the place for her.
She's a good girl.
We didn't say she wasn't.
Then why don't you leave her alone?
You know better than that.
Can do you boys some good downtown. I got a lot of friends.
You're going to need them.
All right, you want to make a case out of this? I'll fight you in every court in the country before I let you take my daughter away from me. Now, you just try it.
Your daughter's a drug addict. She's sick. She's got to be straightened out. She needs help.
Who are you to set yourself up as the jury?
You got a fine girl in there. She's got all the breaks except somebody who thinks enough of her to stand by her.
There isn't anything she wants she doesn't have.
What about the things she needed? You let her run all over the town by herself. She gets in trouble, and you won't take the time to care for her.
What about those two men who got her started? What are you going to do with them? They're guilty. If it hadn't been for those two, this never would have happened.
They'll be taken care of. You lay the blame any place you want, mister, but if you're honest, you'll keep it.
What's going to happen to her?
She'll be given medical attention. We'll do what we can.
I can afford to take care of her. I've got the money. I'll hire the best people. I want her to have the best.
Yeah.
She's mine. I'm her father. I've got the right to take care of her.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Hmm?
Why didn't you?
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 3rd, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Earlier, George Fenneman told you exactly why the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you. Now, the rest is up to you. Get a carton or two for yourself. Smoke them and you'll say, as we do, it's Chesterfields for me.
Vincent Norman Beale and Louis Shellman Conklin were tried and convicted of one count of burglary and additional charges of violation of the State Narcotic Act of felony and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. They received sentences as prescribed by law. Burglary is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years in the state prison. Catherine Noreen Pilgrim had a hearing in juvenile court and was made a ward of that court. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Joyce McCluskey, Harry Bartell, Carolyn Jones. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
Hear Crime and Peter Chambers following John Cameron Swayze on the NBC Radio Network.